Let me just
get some music ambiance going.
See how we started.
This is music ambiance that's just for your own benefit because Sirenscape isn't working or something?
I think so, yeah. Can I also just preface, I'm feeling okay at the moment, but I'm almost 100% sure I've caught a parasite from Baz, and I've been having really bad abdominal pain. So if I cut out or like start acting weird or forget things, because yesterday I was in so much pain I forgot all of my login details and had to leave work. I will just take a look.
You forget yourself so hard you start calling yourself Lorraine.
I forget myself so hard I'll start referring to myself as Lorraine. But yeah, just prefacing my recap with that just in case. Would you like me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay, so important things that happened last game. Saraza went to Slya to begin, to tell her about the Apraean curse that is diseasing people. Slya was incredibly worried, and we actually had Farinia get a heal, which did seem to cure the disease, which makes us think that we can use heal on the other Apraeans who are currently affected. Meanwhile, after everyone being very annoyed at him, Alstaer goes to sign a contract with Sorelleras, taking Lucas and Loran with him. Unfortunately, the contract presents in the same way that Saraza had his contract, and Alstaer now has open wounds down his back, which Loran was very unhappy about, and attacked Sorelleras, and then left, which was a bit sad. And that's kind of where my notes end, so I'm just going to go off the top of my head. I'm
sorry, I thought and that's where we pick it up in this game. Let's redo it all for fun.
No. The information about Karul is being withheld from Slya. Alstaer has decided to tell Slya in the morning, which he does eventually do. So Slya can have somewhat of a good night's rest, even though Slya is upset at being kept in the dark, as she says. Alstaer goes to find Karul, sign off the contract. So basically he has decided to give up a portion, quite a large portion, of his memories if he breaks the contract. Unfortunately, what Alstaer doesn't know is that he's had his memories wiped more times than he remembers, because that's kind of how memory wipe works. So he signed away a little bit more, I think, than he was intending to. He heads upstairs, comforts Loran, who is having a bit of a bad time. Bad time. But they end up having a chat and kind of resolving to just do their best with the situation, and then they go to bed. Come the morning, Alstaer gathers everyone except Cass, I believe, to go and see Karul. And Saraza. Cass and Saraza do not come. And Slya is, of course, in bed. Just gonna say that. We go down to the dungeons to interrogate Karul. We get another bit of good information about the fact that Karul doesn't think Elijah is using magic that doesn't exist in the lab. So it should be stuff that we can kind of comprehend. However, he does kind of hint that there will be traps there. Unfortunately, during the interrogation effort, Jaral speaks to Karul, and it becomes a bit emotional and a bit tense. Jaral storms out, and Alstaer locks Karul back in the locket. Sorry, not the locket. Back in the contract, and then returns the contract later via, I think, who gives it back to?
Lucas and
Neff return the contract box to Sorelleras. We will open it at a later date. Alstaer then goes to find Jaral and comfort him. Jaral is currently in his room recuperating. Alstaer then heads to Slya and tells her the situation. Slya responds slightly better than most of the party members. Not too happy, but I think is just concerned about keeping Farinia safe and resting up after the assassination. Alstaer leaves Slya and heads down to I believe he was going to the spa.
Yeah, with all the Dehanes.
With all the Dehanes before we have breakfast and discuss our next plan of attack.
If you like, Loran did bring enough plates of food for everybody to sort of sit on the floor and eat here with Slya. Just because we've had the long rest, and I don't actually think we resolved this, I want to go back just a little bit for Bluey. So, Anna, I saw your message, and then I did not act on it, probably on account of the fact that it was an extra game and my brain was like going, what? So I'm really sorry about that. But I do want to make sure you get your wrap up for that. So after everything that's happened in the dungeons and seeing everything with Karul play out, and your weird conversation with Rolmate, You head off to find the Apraean group. Now, you remember that Pico Taru said, essentially, they have been, sorry for the triggering words here, quarantined for the time being in a exterior camp. You head out to the Ice Palace steps and you look out and you can see all of the kind of settlements, the little sort of. It's so interesting how this like outer city almost could spring up in a matter of days. You get the impression that people of the Maasai are really used to this, so much so that they just kind of work it in a team and can build something like that. And you know that the Apraean one is being kept further away, but you don't know exactly. Would you like to roll an investigation check for me, just to get an idea?
Sorry, I'm setting up some icy ambience
Icy
Yes.
ambience.
myself on YouTube.
If I get another job, then I can do our Sirenscape again. But it's 16 quid a month, and as much as I love D&D, and how good it is,
We can spend that on food.
we can send that on food. Did they?
Investigation. I don't know why I'm bothering to check the character sheet. That's just 15.
That's okay.
On the
Hi! We're just going back
Hello.
and doing a few things with Bluey. You've only
Oh,
missed
hello, George.
So, Bluey, you have a look around and you're kind of realizing that you're seeing the same kind of designs, the same kind of cultures. This is all Maasaian. And you've been walking for about 5 minutes when you start to get a bit concerned that you can't see anything. At which point you hear footsteps coming up behind you and a kind of like strong kind of hand just taps you on the shoulder.
Hello.
And you see Nasha Taraj, along with one of her lesbians, one of her sapphics, kind of a little bit behind her, looking on at her as if Nasha's coming over to you was unexpected. And she looks confused and she just says, in the best common you can muster, because she is partial to Maasai, what are you doing here?
I would like to find people of my land. A prayer.
She nods and she says, I can take you to them. After a while, just kind of like pondering her words, and then she says something in massage to the woman that she's with, and then heads off with you.
Thank you.
And leads you to the far reaches of the camp, where you see a lot of the palace guard have been set aside to watch the sort of boundaries of this place. None of them are armed, which should speak something, or at least not armed beyond very basic self-defense items like shields and daggers. It's very clear to you that this is not a militant display, but more of like a protective display.
Right.
The camp itself has clearly been aided by the Maasai. Furs have been offered. You get the impression that maybe this was sort of waiting in case the guests arrived. It's a large, round. Yeah.
Sorry, George. I mean, I can just turn it down a bit. It was hard to hear. Sorry. So there are like donated furs and obviously the guards helping out.
Yeah.
And
the guards from all of the tribes. And one of the first things you sort of see is this tent, which is sort of a large, sort of circular. I don't know if you know those kind of the Mongolian style tents, which have like a sloped roof and like fabric sides. It looks a lot like that. Maybe I only know those because they were in the Japanese textbook the English textbook that I used in school in Japan. But they just
look up Mongolian tents.
Yeah, I think it's
cool.
Yeah.
These are fucking nice. Sorry.
Yeah. I get the impression that like a fantasy sort of like spin on that sort of thing, because in Mongolia they have also huge sort of like ice, like snow expanse grounds. So they're probably being a bit like, used to. Anyway. Anyway, so you are sort of escorted up to the line, and the guards look at you and then just say, "There's sickness here." One of them is a taller one, broad shoulders, and wearing the crest of the game. His name is Lucas. Yeah.
I think Bluey would say, sorry, I can hear myself in the. It's.
You're not echoing in my camera.
La la la.
Well.
La la.
Hang on, I'll turn you down just a tiny bit.
Okay. Anna makes noises hour. She says, yes. I helped discover that the sickness. I don't. She'll like say kind of quite quietly, like, I don't think it's contagious.
They look at you like look at you kind of like with more clarity now, and they just say, "Bluey Sparks."
Yeah. Curse, not sickness.
And they think for a second, and Nasha says, "Curse, not sickness." To which the guard like looks at her and then looks at you, and then you kind of get the realization like that they are. You can see their face; they've got like a very like just neutral expression, a bit confused, and like, behind their eyes, you can see they're putting this together. And yeah, they step aside, having heard from both of you. And Nasha just says, "If you leave, make sure a medic checks you first."
Okay.
I don't know where any medics are, but I'm sure you could come outside and just shout for one. She leaves.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Oh my! What the fuck? How can you do that? That's adorable. What?
I have no idea how this is happening. She does not like it.
Oh my! Sorry.
Lala's jealous. Jealous? No one should come up to you, but he can't because we're busy.
Can I plug their water in?
Yes. So, Bluey, inside the tent is much the same. And actually, you don't get the impression that the people who are sick here are ailing, per se, as much as Pico Taro very clearly was.
He's dead too.
But he's dead. He's literally dead. The only worry playing on your mind at the moment is that you don't know 100% when or how long it takes for the sickness to gestate. You do get the impression that if you brought a medic with you, and considering you're a trusted face, asked and interrogated in the gentlest way the people, you might be able to figure out a timeline for the disease gestating. But that thought just crosses your mind and is immediately put away as you see IT kind of from across the room sitting in like a line of rows, a line of firs where people are setting up their beds. She stands up and she walks over to you quite quickly and just like holds your hand and she just says, Louis, I was worried. I didn't know what happened. They're not telling us.
Louis will like just kneel on the ground and just so kind of tight a hug, and I don't think she can think of much to say because it's just sort of like Slya bloody died and was brought back. Karul was consulted without the rest of us knowing at first. You're sick, and I, discovered it and immediately couldn't, had to go do something else. Like that is, it's all kind of like, guilt in a sense for leaving her.
Yeah.
And also just
She leans forward and she holds your hands, and with an insight of 15, do you think she'd be able to read that on your face?
I think she'd probably know that, like, I felt guilty. I'm feeling guilty. You could say it's comparable, but in a much worse way to the fact that Bluey was, like, hiding the fact that she had a crush on her. And then, like, distanced herself or something like that. Like, I don't know, there's, like, this a similar guilt, but it's worse, and
IT just says
that something horrible's happened. Yeah. Like, as well.
IT just says, I'm here now. And you're here now. And we're together. That's all that matters.
Bluey's crying and just, I'm glad I could get here.
Could you repeat that, sorry?
That's so much snot. Oh.
She pulls out a little monogrammed handkerchief. She says, one of the people in the castle made this for me for some reason. And you can tell it's definitely the dainty handiwork of a certain Kev Ambrose.
No, I love Kev.
And he's really nice. I've been sitting upstairs in the garden with him occasionally. He's always there, offering to take people to tea. It's nice. But this is for you.
So nice.
And she just dabs it under your eyes. You can keep it. After she sees all the snot. And she just leads you over to the bedrolls. And the people on either side of her shuffle and make room. And as you sit down, can you just roll me a perception check very quick?
Not again. Please do my view thing doesn't show me all the skills. Give me the skills. It is. Oh, I forgot. It's 19.
19. You do see, sort of sitting up by the doorway, the only person you've seen here who is at all armed, but doesn't look aggressive. Of course, it's Marlena Winterbrand. She's sitting up by the flaps of the tent and just sort of staring out. Like occasionally, no matter how well insulated, a small breeze does blow through and just ruffle the edge of the tents, and you can see out into the snow. She's just staring out there. She looks at you and she gives you a nod. but doesn't beckon you over. And Icy just says, the Winterbrands have been taking charge. We don't know who Kotaro is, but then she has a look over at you and she just says, something tells me we shouldn't talk about this now. You look exhausted, Bluey.
Yeah. Look, apart from not knowing what happened and being in a very cold place, how are you?
And sleep. Whenever this kind of thing happens a lot. Being displaced and sent away from your home and put in tents and made to sleep rough, yeah. I just try and close my eyes and pretend it's not happening. But when I close my eyes now, I just see the siege again.
That was a while ago.
That was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
this is now and it feels the same.
Oh.
You hear a rustling outside, and I'm just because Baz is here, I think it's funny. The rustling of like feathers and sort of pushing through the heavy flaps of the tent. You see Shu come in, and everyone is like, "What the fuck?" for a moment.
What's that?
What is that? And then Shu kind of like,
I am mighty.
By this sort of hot coal, sort of like hot wood sort of stove, which is just keeping the room at a low warmth without burning an open fire. She just sits down and people start, after about 5 minutes, just slowly gravitating to the warmth of her. And she has a cuddle puddle of Apraean officials just like all around.
Careful she doesn't eat you.
And she's like got her mouth like...
Okay, I think I'd like smile a little and gesture for Icy like to come with me, and I'd like to do like an animal handling check and sort of be like, look, if this is too overwhelming, I can tell them to go. I don't know if you can understand common.
Why don't you roll a check and we'll see how well she understands you.
But we'd love to get a pet in. I mean, I'm sure you see this at the moment without others being eaten. That's a natural 20.
Okay,
which makes
natural
a 28. That's a 28. But
Louis,
anyway.
You know how to approach her, and as Shu starts to ruffle her feathers, you kind of, with Icy at your side, just put a hand very gently on the side of her nose, and she closes her eyes and opens one and shakes her head as if to say, no, I'm not going to eat anything. And she nuzzles you. And you get the impression,
no Dragonborn,
as she kind of spreads her wings out, creating a bit more space, that she's okay with people flying on her, especially now that she knows you're here. And Bluey, she kind of looks at you and tilts her head and lifts her snout and just nuzzles at your neck and pushes your cloak aside as if looking for something.
She misses courage.
When she
courage or rations?
Courage is her ration.
With your natural 20, she makes this noise.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear. Okay.
King's marriage.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to hold you to a promise of never eating courage. she'll get out a ration pack, just a little. Feed her.
You pull out the ration pack and you kind of put it at her feet. And she nuzzles it half-heartedly, and then she sighs and just lays her head on her paws and doesn't eat the rations. And Blue, maybe an insight check?
Is she wanting a playmate? What's happening? Oh damn! That's 8.
You don't know why, but she seems a bit sad. But she starts to snooze along with the others, and IT says, "She is so strange and so beautiful. I'm obsessed with her."
Good. Yeah.
And then she's a big yawn.
IT or you. Then the DM intervenes. It's like, sorry, just a bit tired, guys.
We made the mistake of going back to sleep after we woke up. So, hee.
Oopsie.
I guess with everyone, most everyone here, is Pikotaro in here? Or is he separate?
He is separate.
Oh, he is separate. As far as Bluey can tell, there a few of his attendants missing as well.
Yes. You would see that there are 2 people who came specifically with him who are not here.
Is that does me as a player? Are those the 2 people that helped attack Slya?
You get the impression.
God, that's really odd. I don't think Bluey knows. Oh, she came onto the scene. She saw the dead, but
Bluey, so IT sees you kind of getting lost in your thoughts again, and she just tugs on your hand and she just says, "I think your mind is kicking into gear again, but we should sleep."
I think I need to get a bit of information out to. Oh, yeah. No, I need to. All right. So she'll look around the room and just sort of be like, hello, everybody.
Say, most people are already asleep, just so you know. But what we can do, just because I know you want to do this, is I'll split it to the morning, so that the first thing you do when you wake up can be you can tell them all the information. Just because this is right before a long rest, and a lot of these people have travelled very far. So long rest happens exactly how it happened last game. So back to where we left off.
I've got a little biscuit maker.
Biscuit maker.
How's he making biscuits like that?
I've got a blanket on my lap, so he's like, "I will make you biscuits. I will make so many biscuits."
Oh, can I just check, Anna? Did you want this to happen during the long rest after Slya was killed?
As opposed to
the day that Alstaer put Karul away and Slya started like kind of coming back to consciousness. Because if it happened during the day, I can just retcon that people were waking up and you found them this way with Shu.
Hang on. Okay. Did Slya die and?
So Slya died. We've had one sleep, and then And then we woke up and we've had almost a half day. Just to check, because I thought you wanted to do it before the sleep, from the sounds of it.
I think I just had the time wrong, and I thought it was like end of day.
Okay, well, you know what? That can all be okay. A sleep can kind of happen. And then it's breakfast time, and we'll just say you're still at the camp right now.
Okay.
You can have done everything you did in the morning or in the previous day as you had done it, and then we're here now for breakfast.
Rejoin.
You mean spa?
Spa. So,
Okay.
bringing us back. Slya, you are in bed. Cass, you have been talking with Jaral, talking with Alstaer, comforting Jaral and being quite firm with Alstair, but Freya is with you. And as she said previously, she is happily taking you to go and distract yourselves with whatever activities you wish to distract yourselves with. Drinking, chatting, talking to anyone who might wish to talk to you in a not about what's happened. Alstair,
Yes.
you and Loran are sort of holding your breakfast plates, looking over Slya, looking over Saraza, and Loran has suggested a trip down to the spa after you've eaten your breakfast.
Or we could just bring the plates down and have them on the side.
Loran says, that'd be quite nice.
That's okay.
Slya, do you think you'll be okay here on your own?
Probably. Don't see why not. And she just kind of like wraps her arm around Verinia.
Saraza grimaces and just leans over to Loran and just says, can you do nothing to... And Loran just says, I'll put an alarm on the door. If anybody tries to come in, I'll know about it.
I could summon more guards as well.
Very reasonable, very astute. I agree. Would that make you comfortable?
I'm not uncomfortable.
I'll send them up as we head down.
No, thank you. The food is left for you.
Have a lovely time at the spa.
Thank you.
We will. And Loran just kind of lines his hand into Alstair's and heads down the steps. And Saraza watches you for a while after. I'm about to call you Bluey. All the names are swimming around in my head at the moment. I'm going to call Loran Karul at some point.
Oh.
Jaral becomes...
Did you know that Loran backwards is very similar to Karul's name?
Yep.
Loran.
You just changed the...
Karul!
Yeah.
The conspiracy.
I think it's funny. I've decided it's funny.
Yeah.
And Bluey, just in case it wasn't clear, make sure you've taken a long rest on your character sheet.
I will send more guards up as we're heading down to the spa to guard Slya's door.
Okay. So,
Slya offers for Sarazer to stay if he would like.
Sarazer kind of looks at you and just says, you know, I heard them arguing. Or, well, not arguing, but talking.
Discussing.
So many synonyms. I wonder if it might be best if I tell my parents to delay and give them a time by themselves.
I take it not everyone is so pleased with Alstaer right now.
I understand why Loran was upset. I think I was just reminded of the time when we almost made some really big mistakes, myself included. And I just didn't want to go back. But Alstair seems to be taking this quite well. At least he's calm. I was worried he might disappear into himself.
Isn't he?
Well, Loran's with him. If anybody can draw it out. Figure out what's really going on. But Slya, don't neglect yourself either.
I'm not. I'm right where I want to be. And she just kind of instinctually just kind of squeezes Fernia's hand.
Sarah smiles. Let's share breakfast. This morning has been very difficult already. Can I please check, did Alstair tell Slya what he did?
Yeah.
And then, so Sarah would say, Karul got agitated. He tried to go after Geralt, but he's bound to the contract. So we sealed him back inside.
How's Geralt holding up?
If you're up to it, I could ask if he could come and see you. I think you would benefit from...
Only if he's up for it. I don't want to encroach if he needs space.
You're his family. You and Alstair, especially.
Be that as it may, I know that sometimes he needs to be alone to process.
I'll pop in and see if he needs.
Thank you.
Mention that the offer is there.
Please do.
And if you'll allow me later today, you should try walking.
Sorry, say again.
If you'll allow me later today, you should try walking a little.
Of course, yes.
And he'll sit down and eat with you. Neff kind of potters about the room, checking your injuries, checking your vitals, doing medicine, making medicine for you. She seems very preoccupied, and she just says, "Well, I've done everything that I can do for now. Did you say a heal was enough to help the people of the prayer?"
Yes, but perhaps, Sarzer, we could take a walk down to wherever they're keeping the pray-ins. I have something that can help them. It's a lot of magic, but I can help a lot of people with it.
Sarza nods and just says, rest up a little longer. Neff and I will go and pass on the word and see what we can do. And then we'll head down together.
Of course.
All right. So, I'll just make a note.
Raz likes to play D&D now.
Yeah. Do you guys like my candle ambience?
Oh, it's so nice.
It's very nice, yeah.
The quality's not good, but
It's got that
But-
like soft glow.
Mm.
Okay.
I could put it. No. That's a bad idea. Don't do that now. Okay.
So, Alstaer, you head down to the also, you head down to the spa.
Spa time.
I have to quietly join a class. I'm just going to turn the volume off.
You thought I was working? No, I'm playing D&D.
Oopsie.
Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Nom nom.
I'm just imagining like tiptoeing into the classroom, but virtually.
Yep. Why don't just because I'll pop a headphone in so that we don't hear this because it's got an automatic slight volume and I don't want that to get into the recording. So I'll just pop downstairs and grab those. Aaron, if it's okay with you, we'll take just a really quick break, so 2 minutes. Just do break. Anyone wants a tea refill? I'm just gonna.
Righty.
Wow. So, Alstaer, you are heading towards the spa
Spa time.
with all the Dehane. And as you kind of walk down, the Ran has his hand sort of like held quite tightly in yours. Hello, George.
Georgia.
Hand is held quite tightly in yours. And sorry. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to put my phone in the room because I don't need to.
I don't need this.
I can afford it anyway. I don't want to actually. You head down and Ryan is holding your hand and he looks at you and he just says, "Is everything all right, Alstaer? If it's something you didn't want to say in front of the others, you can tell me now. I won't press it. I know we had a difficult conversation."
Well, aside from the obvious stress, I don't see any point in moping.
He kind of like turns and just sort of like
Go away, Belle.
angles you so your back is kind of like against the wall and he just sort of like holds your face. If there's any lingering feelings from what I said earlier, I can assure you this. No matter what I feel now, or what I felt, I'll see it that your plan goes as well as it can. I'll help you.
I appreciate that a lot. You always do so much.
Well, I know. Amazing, aren't I?
And humble too.
I'm very humble. Ben. You should have known that when you heard my vows.
It's a shame our wedding night was, well, like Lucas said.
Don't think of it. Besides, and he just kind of like pinches your cheek. We more than made up.
Should we go to the spa?
And he continues on. And you guys go down and you can get the towels, you can get robes, etc., etc. Everything that you need. Is Alstaer doing his usual swaddle, or is he?
I think Alstair's just going to go in. I think he puts his plate of food down and he'll just step into the bath and he'll be like, oh, it's warm. It's nice.
Loran just says, I've really been feeling the cold recently.
Yeah. It's a bit chilly.
Mm.
But it's a good thing we have these baths. Are your parents joining us?
Yes, they will. And he kind of like turns his hand and just sends a message. And you hear him speaking something quick. Sylvan.
Does Leander know about the situation?
Loran kind of puts his hands on your shoulders and just sort of like turns you slightly, and he runs his hand down the scars, already scarred thanks to Ness healing, of the contract on your back. And he just says, well, all things considered, you didn't actually bet that much. I think the only person who could take issue with this would be Giral, considering it's selling information on Batar to anyone might upset old wounds. But
I mean, Giral probably wants to see Batar destroyed anyway.
how was he when you saw him?
Giral.
I know I don't speak to him that much, but it would be wrong to say I didn't care about his well-being.
I think he's processing. Must be very difficult what he's been going through. I can't imagine. But I'll check in on him. I'll make sure throughout the day that he's not alone. He doesn't seem to want to be in wider company, but perhaps he should join us at breakfast whilst we make our next plans.
Yes, I think Bluey and Cass can handle Valis. They always seem to do very well with him. And then you and Slya, you handle Giral. And I will just ensure that everything goes smoothly. You know, I'm very good at planning.
I think we should try and all be together at breakfast. Cass, Bluey, Valis, Giral.
Loran looks at the breakfast plates you have next to each other and just says, might I suggest a lunch?
Brunch then. I say breakfast as in coming together at the table all together and having a nice chat.
That's D&D redefining the definition of breakfast so that it can be a little planning session for the rest of the day. Loran settles down and just kind of closes his eyes and just very slowly dunks himself under the water. And he stays down there, lets all the bubbles come up.
Don't drown.
No thinking kill. And he settles back. And after a while, Leander and Zarina make an appearance and jump on in. I will say for Saraza, because Neff isn't actually here, so we can't play out the scene. I might for scenes where for scenes where it involves Neff, I will just sort of kind of vaguely jump over them. Saraza would have gone with Neff to make sure that she was sent down to the tent with all the Apraeans just as a second look precaution. Then pass on that information to Lucas as well. And it is a little bit later, just after Leander and Zarina arrive, that Saraza comes and he just says, oh, it's a family affair. And Zarina just says, but of course it is. We've only just finished all the paperwork. We've been up all night. And Leander is just slowly sinking into the waters.
You're right there, Leander.
He just grumbles, and that's his response. Zarina kind of like swims over to you, Alstaer, and she nestles up next to you, and she just says, so, how is the king handling everything?
Well, Lucas is doing a very good job.
I'm referring to you. I don't really... Lucas is by the by. You're Alstaer. You're the one that's on my mind. So, what's happened? What do we need to know?
Well, we put Karul away for now. Considering how Joel reacted. But we did get some good information, I think enough to proceed with the plan, at least towards Eldrelith. I did have to make an agreement, unfortunately.
Zarina, as you kind of mentioned Karul, the sort of tiredness clears her memory and she just says, I've been forcibly forgetting that whole thing. Well, at least your investigation bore fruit.
I think it did.
I hope you don't mind that I wasn't involved, and still do not intend to be. Leander has sunk so that only his nose is above the water now. Look, if we stick our noses in this, then the Sealy Court sticks their nose in, and I fucking hate them. So...
Aren't you the Sealy Court now?
My position is somewhat outside the realm of their authority. Leander, on the other hand, is different. But Leander and like 2 other people are the only ones really left after that whole explosion fiasco. And of course, all the Ventress mysteriously disappeared, and we don't know what happened to them.
Ah.
She gives Lorana a wink. Such a shame. Such a shame their bodies were never found.
Such a shame. Well, I wouldn't want to over-involve either of you.
Look, just don't involve us in any official capacity. The moment I use magic is the moment it's too late for me. Leander has already got paperwork up to his neck, so long as he's not signing anything, at which point she stops, and she sits back, and she just says, sorry, did you say you made an agreement? At which point, Leander's bubbles start becoming more and more anxious.
Anxious bubbles ensue.
Anxious bubbles ensue.
It's all right, Leander. Yes, we had to get the information out of Karul. He would have been a bit daft to agree otherwise, wouldn't he?
Sarah's shoulders kind of like sort of roll back slightly, and he just says, what kind of a contract?
It wasn't my soul, don't worry.
And Zarina looks at you and just says,
Would you like to read it?
She holds out her hand. If I must.
Also just turns around and stands up.
Beauty on display. No. The water is high enough that this contract does not go down to your bum. It stops just...
It's signed on his bum.
It stops just at your rib cage. Sort of just halfway down your back. And you're sort of up on your knees. And Sarah's immediately just stands up and splashes over to this is happening in a bath. Splashes over. He has towel. Of course he has a towel and swimmies on. It's
swimmies.
It's Sarah's. He's very used to swimmies. It is noted that Leander is too. Zarina has no shame, much like that. And he heads over and he just says, Alstaer. Fucking hell. And for someone who never swears, that is a big deal.
It's okay. It doesn't hurt anymore.
Zarina, rather than reacting to the placement of the contract, started reading it. And you kind of turn around and look at her, looks like turn and look over your shoulder. And as she reads it, you see her face grow darker and darker. And she just says,
Did I miss the fine print?
Alstaer, did you pet memories on this contract?
Yes. Is that a problem? You look ill.
Right. Also, I did not want to have to tell you this, but I must, because your sanity is now at stake. Very recently, do you remember when I slapped you?
Also looks like he's racking his brains. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I wasn't actually whacking you in the face. I was removing a few memories for your sake. You've been through some shit. So that actually means you've not only had memories removed once before, you've actually had memories removed twice before. So if you at any point breach any part of this contract, your brain, your mind is forfeit, and you will never be sane again, probably. The chances of it not breaking is like 5%. And that's generous. So I'm not feeling as nice as I was before. But I'm going to just take a deep breath and drown myself, and I'll leave it to you to resurrect me in about 5 minutes. And she just kind of joins Leander, and they just sort of float at the bottom of the pool. Leander eventually pulls her out before she can succumb to the deep. But she seems a bit distressed. You can get the impression.
That is unfortunate. I have no intention of breaking the contract, so I don't think it will be an issue. Unless, of course, someone in the party hurts Karul or does something without my knowledge.
If Loran is racking his brain, he just says, if Karul hurts you, you're... Sorry, got that very loud. If Karul hurts you, you're out of the contract. He's breached it, and then that's on him.
I think so. But hurt is a very... I believe Alstaer is gonna... I'm just gonna check what the actual contract says.
We do have that written down.
Got a second. Where is his contract, though? Do you have the contract? Yeah, I just need to check the fine print. Maybe I have it on my desktop.
Ryan, all you have to do is get 2 mirrors, and you can check the contract.
Where is it? Definitely had it somewhere.
Did you send it?
I definitely sent it to you.
Lil Alstaer.
Hold on.
Playlist. We've made so much content.
It must be in the docs.
Yeah.
So Alstaer goes to the mirror to try and read the fine print in his contract, and he looks like he's assessing it quite academically.
Surely you could get
Alstaer
Cinderella
contract.
asking Karul out again, and just be an addendum where it's if either commits grievous bodily harm or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Alstaer is going to say, so, Karul cannot act in any way that would lead to the death of Alstaer Game Mondahane and associated parties, unless threatened. It is to act without direct malicious intent. So I'm assuming... That's quite a wide berth to give him. But as long as his actions don't result in the death of myself or any party members, I think it's actually a little bit stricter on us. Considering he's a soul fragment, though, I really doubt that he would be able to do much besides yell at us.
Loran looks at you for a second.
Am I interpreting that incorrectly?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm fully understanding yet.
Maybe we should ask Sorelaras to elaborate. And keep a closer watch on Dural.
I could put wards up. Again. I'll alarm his door. I'll know anyone who goes inside.
I don't think that's necessary. I think we should just keep him with us a bit more often, considering he's prone to slinking off.
I don't want him to become prone to slinking off in pursuit of the comet.
As long as it's with Sorelaras.
Do you really trust Sorelaras to deny him it?
No.
Well, then I think perhaps alarming the door.
Could alarm Sorelaras' door. Then we know anyone who is accessing the contract. If we're going to set up alarms, we might as well go for the biggest catch-all.
True. Great. Can't believe you agreed to those terms.
And to get Karul to sign it. At the time, I didn't realise that betting memory was going to be such a big deal.
Well, it is, Zarina says.
Oh, you're alive.
Well, yeah, I've resuscitated myself. It's one of my many skills. Proceed with caution.
Okay.
You do not, under any circumstances, aggravate.
No.
If we don't act against him, not that I have any involvement in this at all, he probably won't act. And as of yet, I don't see there's any reason why he would turn.
I would like to point out, though, the caveat. We should tell the entire party this, considering if anyone acts against Karul in a threatening way, he can attack them without breaking the contract. So we need to be careful.
Loran just says, then what binds him?
What binds him, sorry?
He can attack people.
If they attack him first. We need to stay completely neutral. That means you
That would have been
two.
the same. What binds?
We need to remain completely neutral. This is a kind of like hostage situation, I guess.
Loran just says, at least we have all the power.
As long as he's in that box, we need to tell Sorelaras that no one else can take it.
And we need to talk to Cass. Especially.
I believe I promised Cass that I'd make a potion to stop her from being taken over again. Because if
Zarina
Cass
says,
got there.
I have been meaning to call her aside, actually, because, yes, you're right. Her potion is up tomorrow. And I've not yet finished brewing another. Alstaer, how about this? You and I can go speak to Sorelaras and then continue on the potion making together. We were quite good at it last time.
Sounds good.
And then, Loran, why don't you find Cass? And Saraza, what do you have planned? Saraza just says, I just needed to refresh before Slya and I are going to go down to the Prey Intent and, well, see if there's anything we can do.
Have you found a way to cure the sickness then?
An incredibly labour-intensive way. It's not something that's going to work on a large scale. But Slya can heal.
I think Cass would have told everyone apart from Slya about Pikatara being undead, but I think she would probably want to tell Slya today.
Okay.
It wasn't yeah, I think it was just in amongst all the angst of yesterday. I think she would have told some, but not necessarily Slya. But
That's right. We can
Yeah.
say that you would have added that in. I mean, Neff and Blue were there when you found out.
okay, so maybe
So
and
Alstaer,
as long as Slya is made aware at some point today,
Yeah,
whether by
that's
Cass
fine.
or someone else.
So what we can say then is, so you and Freya would have had your fun night, probably off with the Haynams. And like I said, it starts off jovial, and then as word gets round, more and more so, the mood turns somber. And when you wake up in the morning, you get the impression that people know. They didn't know before. But like I said, you probably made your way back. You guys made your way back to the tree to sleep. You saw Dural's reaction. You get an idea of what's happened, and you're currently in the palace, and you can head wherever it is you wish to go. So if you want to speak to Slya, you can.
Yeah, I think after breakfast, I think she would give Freya a kiss and be like, "I'll be back shortly." 'Cause,
Anything you need me to do in the meantime?
try and stay out of trouble.
I'll think about it. She considers it. She gives it an honest try. And then she.
Cass is also like,
Palace.
actually go get in trouble. I think Cass is actually hoping she gets into some innocent trouble that would be quite funny.
I just remembered that Neff slept in the royal bedchamber last night. If Thomas had been here, we could have had a funny scene, but it's a shame. I feel like Freya probably would have seen Neff descending from there and then been like, open game. And she walks up into the royal bedchambers and cutscene starts having a snoop for fun. But Cass, you can get yourself some food. In the Great Hall, because there are so many guests, all the leftovers from the previous night are being pillaged, and you do see people you recognise. You see the Ran come down and get some plates. You see Kev like hovering about with like a tray just jangling on his hands with tea and crackers, and he's just like and seems very shaken. You can tell by the puffy redness of his eyes that he's been crying pretty much all night, because that's Kev. But you can get some food, have a munch, and then you want to go find Slya?
Yes.
I'd say you pass Saraza as he heads down, and he gives you a nod and squeezes your shoulder. If there's anything you want to say to him.
Is she okay?
Saraza says, I think she'll be even better for seeing you. I'm going to go to the baths with my family if you want to join at any point. But Alstaer and the Ram will be, so you're aware.
Okay. I think we'll be focusing on other things today, but I'm sure they'll come find me when they're ready.
He nods and just says, and Jarrell's upstairs here too, if you want to speak to him. I heard he was not in a good way.
Yes, I think we might need to be a little bit careful.
He nods. And you part, and you can go up to Slya's doorway. Do you knock? I assume so.
No, she knocks. On a normal day, she'd have just
run on in.
Would have waltzed in, but on Slya's post-deathbed, she will knock.
The door is just kind of like thrust open, and Slya, you see Cass in the doorway. People are just filing in and out of your room. You're in such high demand. Just as Saraza leaves, Slya arrives. Not Slya, your Cass arrives. Slya!
Another Slya walks in.
An imposter! You're Cass! So, Cass, you see Farinia just kind of holding Slya's hand. They're picking up food.
Morning, Cass.
I think Cass is quite hesitant on the doorway. She kind of acts like it's clear she's not sure whether she should come in or not.
Slya just pats the bed next to her.
At that, she's like very quick to the bed.
I feel like Slya's actually just kind of doing that thing where she's not laying like sideways in the like proper in the bed. She's like sitting up and like just kind of leaning against the wall.
I think Cass will sit next to her on whatever side Farinia isn't, and sort of take a hand if her hand is free, and be like, "Are you okay?"
Good as can be.
An insight check that. Come on, brass dice, don't fail me now. Yes, always the good ones. 19.
Should I roll deception if Slya might be holding a little bit back?
Oh. When you roll, deception isn't necessarily. I know it says not lying. Sometimes it is just you don't want to give away
all of
your information.
All the goods.
At the moment. Yeah.
Performance.
That's like an odd. It's like it's like a measure of how much you want to share. If you're not telling a lie, then I'll just say like you get the impression something is being held back.
Yeah, Cass definitely gets the impression that something is held back with an 18 minus 3.
Yeah, I mean, Cass isn't surprised. I think she's sort of like, I felt like that you are not okay. But also, Slya has just been murdered. So she's not going to be like, tell me what's wrong. I think it's pretty obvious. There's a lot of shit going on. So I think Cass just sort of quietly nods and appears to take Slya saying she's okay to heart, but really she's like, you're not okay. And I think when she says that, she'll give Slya's hand a squeeze. Be like, I'm glad to hear it, but it would also be okay if you weren't.
Some things just are what they are.
Yes. Unfortunately. Are
you all right?
I didn't tell you yesterday. No. No, I'm not. But
Slya switches to Dwarvish,
enough, so.
And would you like to talk about it?
Farinia is also there, isn't she?
Yeah. This is not something done to like exclude Farinia. It's something that Slya is doing to kind of make an emotional sort of like gesture for Cass. Because Cass probably hasn't heard her speak Dwarven very much.
No, I don't think Cass, apart from when she's just had the conversation with... I feel like the conversation with her mother in Dwarvish is the first Dwarvish conversation she's probably had since the first campaign.
Aww.
So,
yeah. This is so sad. I'm crying. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
As soon as you say something in Dwarvish, you see her like sort of break. But she's trying really hard not to because she also doesn't want to put too much on you.
Slya just like lets go of Cass's hand and wraps her arm around her.
I think Cass would just sort of curl into her side and cry. Yeah.
Slya just kind of like rubs her shoulder, waits for her to just let it all out.
I think she just cries for a while.
Are we talking hours? Are we talking minutes?
To be fair, I would say a fairly long, like, straight up crying session would probably be about 15-20 minutes. I'd say about that long, she does not stop.
Okay.
Yeah, Slya just waits for her to get it all out. Periodically
I think
squeezing Vernia's hand.
Yeah, I think basically when there's no tears left, in the sense of she has no moisture left, she stops. And I think she sort of sits up and wipes her eyes and sorry, that was I don't mean to put so much on you. We've not had the best time of it, have we?
No. Also, Slya kind of just like taps Verinia and asks like very quietly if she wouldn't mind getting some like water.
Verinia does look a little reluctant to leave, but she understands and she stands up. And
I think if Verinia stands to go, I think Cass would sort of be like, "You don't have to go."
Oh, she was more like asking like if there's like water in the room for her to just like pass some water to Cass. That's all she wanted was for her to like pass some water for Cass.
Oh, definitely.
Hydrate.
She'll pour out some glasses. Hydrate, guys.
I have some things to tell you, but I guess what I'm worried about most is just the party in general. We've been going for so long and things just seem to be getting harder. And I know I've not made the best decisions, but it seems like it's not even necessarily the decisions that have been made haven't been good, but it seems that we keep making the decisions by ourselves. And that's what worries me. We seem to not be trusting each other as much as we should.
And our trust has come under a lot of stress. With all the death and everything following around. I feel it too.
I think Cass just nods and is sort of like, cool.
Things haven't been quite right since I can't place a single moment. But
I can. The City of Brass. That was the start of it. Whatever.
Oh, a dog enters the room. You don't know where they came from.
Vernia's ecstatic. She loves dogs. Big dogs.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Cass definitely can track it back to the City of Brass. I think the moment Neff died is when it all started going a bit tits up.
Yeah, Slya got that was the moment Cass was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, strong, independent people, but this is all too much burden to carry alone, and you're right. We should be relying on each other.
I think at some point soon we need to have a chat with all of us and remind each other that we're sort of here for everyone. I think people are striking out on their own, and whilst it might not be the wrong decision, it might not always be the best one. And if you've done it by yourself, then it's hard to have the support of everyone else.
I agree. I will say that in the 3 days that I have to recover, if we're going to do something as a group, I would like to include Verinia on that.
Of course. I think Cass would look to Verinia and sort of give her a smile and be like, I don't disagree.
Cass might get some that Slya, there's something else Slya's not saying here as well.
If that's the case, I think Cass might just ask, like, what aren't you saying?
Once we go to Eldralith, she looks over to Verinia. Just like her eyes just kind of trail over and then back to Cass. This is the last time I get to spend with her. And I don't want to waste any of it.
Of course. And I think Cass would like grip her hand tighter, and in Cass's head she's like, this will not be the last time you see your wife. I will not let this happen. You will see your child. Yeah.
Aww.
I think you can
just gonna cry.
I think you can see like the sort of determination in Cass, but she's not going to say anything because she knows that hearing that isn't necessarily what Slya needs or wants, because but I think you can see in Cass's eyes like that she's like, that will not happen, but also that she understands and she would never sort of
Slya appreciates the like at least like the sentiment that Cass is conveying. Like,
I think at that
face.
when you say that, like the determined, that's the most Cass has looked more like herself since you've spoken with her.
It's good to see you again.
We'll see how long she stays.
Cass, you know that tomorrow is the limit for your potion. Zarina has probably... I think Zarina was going to come and speak to you anyway, but you would probably assume that she will come to you at some point today.
Yeah. And Cass like touches her eyes and is like she says that, like, I hope how long she stays, and she'll touch her eyes when she says that. But I didn't just come to see how you were. I came with some information and some questions. She'll look at Verinia, and I think she might, I don't know, she's not medical in any way, but I think she might give an Arcana check to Verinia and see how she's doing health-wise. Ooh, very nice. Arcana. That is 28 for Arcana for Verinia.
Okay, so with a 28, I think you would know that she is not under the effect of any magic, but has recently been under the effect of 2 different kinds of magic, so healing magic and necromancy. And as far as you're aware, those 2 spells or curses or whatever magical effects they were are no longer affecting her, in at least in a negative way. That much you can tell. I'm just going to plug in my computer.
Okay. Wow. I think seeing I think seeing that, Cass would then sort of turn to Slya, because she's not going to keep anything from Farinia, but she wanted to make sure that Farinia had been seen to, and that this wasn't like a bombshell for anyone.
Would Slya's like passive insight kind of pick up on what Cass is doing?
Yeah, I think Cass would. It's quite obvious. Like, I feel like with an Arcana check, it's not like an insight check where you'd be like, for like an Arcana check is like.
I wouldn't expect that Cass would want to necessarily hide that she's doing something good for she.
First thing this morning, I saw it.
Oh, good. Thank God. This isn't going to be easy, and we're not entirely sure how to deal with this. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to say it.
I should be able to tend to
Pico
the
Taro
others later.
Pico Taro's undead.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the face
He doesn't
that
know.
Sinestre was wearing.
This is also what I want to talk to you about. I would like to begin interrogating Sinestre today, but I want your permission, approval, and also if there's anything you would like me to ask. We know how Gerald's disguises work. He has to kill the person to take their disguise. So did Sinestre kill Pico Taro? Was he already undead?
I don't know.
I think there's more to discover. I know you don't, but I think Sinestre has valuable information that we need.
That's a familiar phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she's not going to make a deal with Sinestre. Sorry, what did you say, Helen?
Wait, I missed what Emma said.
I just forgot something that was I said that they were going to do, so I just really want to try.
I mean, Cass also won't interrogate Sinestre without speaking to Brian. Like, this is just, she's starting to yesterday she wasn't in a fit state yesterday, but today she's like, we've only got a couple of days. This bitch has information that I need.
I can get into her head.
Would you like to be present?
I mean, I would have to be for that. But I have no questions.
Are you
for
okay?
Her.
Are you okay to do that?
She can't hurt me anymore. I mean, she's already...
I think Cass will sort of...
What's left?
Continue?
Yeah, Slya, she has already... And then she pauses and says, what else is left that she could do to me? If you ask the questions...
Can't help but look at Farinia. I think it's like a sort of... it's just like a quick look at Farinia, and then she looks back at Slya and is like, I will say what I said to Brian. I think we would be unwise to underestimate the people that we are dealing with.
True. But I have nothing more to say to her. If you have information you want, information that I can help you access, I will help.
Thank you. I think she knows more about...
for a couple minutes at the most.
I think in that case, when I start interrogating her with Brian and Lucas's permission, maybe wait until we get to the more telling questions before casting the spell.
Of course.
I don't know what to do about Pico Taro. We haven't told him. How do you tell someone that they're not alive? I don't know if there's anything we can do.
show him in a way that there is no way to deny it is truth. And let him decide his own next steps.
I think before we do that... Oh, shall I stop?
Oh, sorry. Apparently they're eating something, but please continue. I'm still here.
Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Before we tell Pico, I think we need more information from Sinestre. There's a reason she chose his face, and I think we need to find out.
Also, y'all would know that Slya's detect thoughts only lasts for a minute. She can do it twice. Just to clarify the mechanics behind what she has said. And y'all would have seen her do it before, but not very often.
I just assumed it was like a 10-minute deal. I don't know how I misremembered that.
No, it's not very long. Detect thoughts.
Yeah, it's
because otherwise it'd be very OP.
And then Slya gets a free suggestion off of that if she chooses to use it without expending a spell slot.
So,
no.
You want to cast detect thoughts?
On Sinestre, eventually, not yet. But Slya only also she doesn't have to be as close with the spell. Traditionally, she can be within 60 feet of the target. So ideally, she would be out of Sinestre's eye line.
Understood. So, as you guys are having your conversation, I'm going to take us away for a moment to go back to the Apraean tents with Bluey. So, Bluey, you wake up in the morning and you get some food with IT. You get some food with IT. And people out here are cooking for themselves as well as getting some stuff delivered from the castle, the palace, rather. And the Apraeans all come to, and Shu kind of just makes a little sofa for anyone who wants to sit against. There aren't that many of them. It's maybe 15, 20 in total. And then again, 2 are missing. So, but it's enough that the room is quite full. And people are sort of quietly talking amongst themselves. And you do start hearing whispers, where is the king? Pico Taro has not yet returned. And the mood is starting to shift from calm to something different, slightly more panicked. How do you want to respond to that? Marlena is also probably looking at you like you have the answers.
Okay. I guess Bluey is certainly thinking that if she were to offer to go outside and check on Pico Taro, then she'd have to do the whole be checked by a medic that she's all right. And considering I think this is her time to shine. She will she would have said a brief hello to Marlena, but I think Marlena, she did need to spend some time with IT. So, but yeah, this morning,
of course, Marlena just will say, "I don't know what's going on, but I think they need to hear it from someone who does." As she sees you kind of looking around the room.
Okay. Certainly. All right. She kind of just kind of extends herself up to a full height, which is just maybe an inch or two taller than people might be used to, just because how she puts her neck and just sort of.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning. So I mean that there were multiple reasons I came down here last night. and there's okay. Thoughts?
They're all looking at you. IT gives you a nod, assuring you can do this.
So yesterday, okay, you don't, I guess, know the details about the incident. So there was a breach in the castle during the celebration of the coronation. It wasn't found out about by some of us for a little while, but one of my party, close friend of King Alstaer, she was she was killed. She got better though. Just wanted to say that first.
She was briefly assassinated, IT says in the corner now.
She turned me into a newt. Got better.
Hello.
You hear whispers kind of rustle around the room, and Marlena says, "Are we safe here, Louis? That's what matters most to us." Suddenly, she's from South London. That's what matters most to us.
After ensuring that she was being revived, I helped kind of do, I guess, a security check. I think you saw me and Nefel yesterday walking around. I was doing a bit of magic. So something, I'm not sure if you've noticed it in yourselves or in other people here, but it seems like people in a prayer for the last, is it like a month that OSHA's been there or something like that?
Well, actually, I think it's been a bit longer, but you could say a month. That would be inaccurate. She's been there at least a month.
Okay. I'm never sure about time, but maybe a month. So, including all of you, I could detect the fact that very technically, either your souls or your bodies have been magically desecrated in some way.
Everyone's faces look a bit like, at that. IT just says, "Don't worry, because," and she looks at you like,
we got the sense that the closer people were to Eldrilith's watch, the more this effect is. It's in line with a curse. And
don't worry, because you're only cursed, IT says quietly behind her.
Bloody hell, Bluey.
Is there some sort of like persuasion or like something she needs to make here?
A charisma check.
Charisma?
Yes.
Could have just said there was a breach of security. It's all fine. Someone was
You're all
happy with
cursed.
it.
You're all
disease,
diseased.
guys.
You're all
You're
diseased.
cursed.
Oh no, I'm not.
You better not say that.
Too close to home.
She better not say that the king is undead, otherwise all hell is going to break
You're
loose.
funny.
It's funny. It's for the...
Emma,
Yes.
may I roll brief foresight and see if I can do better?
You may, yes.
Please. No, that's worse. All right, never mind.
Okay, what was your
If
charisma
anyone
roll?
wants a 3 on the dice,
Oh no.
that's for later. But for now, that's a 9.
9. Rumbling kind of runs through the tent, and Ita looks a bit concerned, and Marlena just says, "Wait, no, guys, fine. The fact that they know is important. We could have all been standing around here not knowing shit." I'm a very good leader. Okay, but Louis, Marlena just kind of pulls you out of the tent, and she just says, "Right, okay, let me handle this. Just tell me there's a plan, or there's a medic coming. Anyone, your friends, surely amongst there's an accomplished healer."
Okay. There's been some. So I don't think Bluey's known that like Therinia seems to be fully recovered from it. But that at the very least, was treated in a way that this thing didn't progress. So she knows that. So okay, she'd be like, okay, yeah. So I know there is at least a way for it not to get worse.
Marlena just says, "Okay, that's positive. Anything else?"
And as far as I know, there's still the possibility that it can be cured. But the source of it is what my party wants to tackle as soon as you know, we're all recovered, but one of us more than most. The Slya, which is
Bluey, take a deep breath. Don't lose yourself in what's happened. And just think about what we can do now, okay? I'll fix this in there, which is neat. They trust you, but they might need a bit of good news. I'll tell them there's a healer coming. Can you just please maybe bring your friends? If Slya's recovered enough, can you see if she'll come down?
yes, I can, and they'd know as well more about healing than I do.
Bluey. Enough.
I think Marlena would say that like Bluey's pausing, as if there is another bit of information that like.
If she tells us information, Cass is going to hit the roof.
Okay, so Bluey, she is going to roll an insight check.
God damn it, Bluey!
I mean, Bluey's it would be very transparent about being conflicted, but I think because
with a 5 on the dice,
people,
she says, "You've got a lot going on. Is there anything else I need to know?"
So I understand that like no one in the palace has kind of said an official statement yet, and I think they're going to soon. So there's kind of that. There's also another thing that because it doesn't directly concern everyone in there, it's indirect. And also because we're still figuring things out. Oh, the assassin. She's captured. Maybe that's important to mention. She's captured. We're going to get some information out of her. Hopefully. And all right. I just think
just says
because
if there's an assassin captured, that's a good thing. I'll pass it on. Okay. Talk with your friends. I don't want you to say anything you're going to regret or that I shouldn't know. I know it can be like that. So why don't you go back, speak to them, and bring some medics, and try again next time.
Mm-hmm.
IT says, I think you did really well, actually. Sort of like rustling up against Molyneux, and Molyneux just says, right, yeah, but look, we need to just make sure that we're not upsetting people or saying things that we don't need to say. And IT says, no one in there is upset. They're just confused and cursed and not. Anyway, and she holds your hand and starts pulling you towards the edges of the boundaries, and she says, let's go. Let's figure this out.
And can Bluey get like one last peer into the tent, and do like an inside check on a general inside check on everybody as to whether IT is reflecting what's happening or if this is indeed a situation that does need to be made better by some, say, PR and spin.
So you guys.
5.
That's okay. You feel that it is better now to distance yourself just for a little bit. You didn't necessarily do something wrong. You just might need a little time to figure out how to proceed.
Okay.
So you head on and you go back to the castle. Now,
I'll be back soon. Do I get like patted down by a medic or something like that?
There is a bit of a moment. It's okay. There's a bit of a moment where you are eyed up, but considering you entered with Nasha before, you are Bluey Spark. You do get a little bit of leniency, and IT will stop at the exit and just say, "Are you sure I can come with you?"
As in, like, is this a matter for like a guard like eyeing, you know?
Because I know you wanted her to come to the library, but I think you probably know that it would be a bit difficult for her to leave.
Okay. I don't want you being out here to be the last sort of bit of being in the Messiah, because the palace is very nice. So I guess I will be back.
Step forward and join with.
I will be back. Blue will kiss,
Cool.
little kiss.
Little kiss.
Mwah.
Okay.
Best
So you're going to leave her there? Or are you going to bring her with you? Okay.
Leave her and be back later.
So,
I'll be back.
Alstaer,
Cats are fighting.
the cats are fighting. Alstaer,
Yes.
you and Loran sort of leave the baths around the same time as Sarazen. Just a brief wash. Serena and Leander recovering from their bouts of mania.
I was going with Serena to Sorella Rass, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm just
Not Loran.
I'm just setting the scene.
Yeah.
Serena and Leander recovering from their bouts of mania do reluctantly pull themselves out of the warm embrace of the hot spring. And once you guys are fully dressed, they emerge also clothed again.
I just heard, sorry.
You're right.
I heard the something being rattled.
Yeah. Great.
It's my job to run and stop the cats from destroying stuff in this house.
And it's my job to keep this narrative flowing.
So if I have to disappear, that's why.
Yeah. So yes, the whole Dehane syndicate exits the baths, and you guys, fully dressed, you part ways. So Sarah, is going to Slya. See if she's up for a walk. Leander seems conflicted, but then just says, "Where do you need me?" Like I said, we're not trying to get involved. Not in any official capacity. But I'm very good with small print contracts. I'm happy to go with you to see Sorelleras if you like.
I don't think it will be necessary. We just need to gather everyone so we can have a talk.
Leander says, "Well, how about this then?
Including Gerald.
I'll be there to back up anything you say. Like I said, legal jargon is my thing." I'm just going to plug my computer in again. The cats have to choose water or D&D.
No, I just need everyone together.
Sarah's kind of hearing this will say, "I'll delay with Slya just a little." Do you want... Neff's already gone down, I think, to sort of see how the Appraians are. Should I call her back?
Well, I did ask for a meeting this morning, which has become brunch. So yes, I would quite like everyone to be gathered in one place.
Sarah's a nod. I'll see if someone can send her.
Yes, if you could fetch Gerald as well, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
I assume Valis doesn't need to come.
If Valis wants to come, he probably does need to be supervised.
So Sarah leaves, and Leander goes with him, saying that he will be there to back up anything you need to say about the contract, any information that the party might be confused about, you can clarify. And he is the DM in the room. Serena kind of stands by you, and Loran says, "Right, I will find Cass. She probably be with Freya. I think she needs a little bit of a moment to, get used to the idea of talking to you. Or me, I don't know. Perhaps I'm the drama."
Perhaps. Well, I'll see you later.
Loran steps forward and pulls your head in his hands and gives you a sudden kiss.
Alstaer kisses him back. He's like, the affection. Are you alright?
Are you?
I think we should just keep going.
He parts from you and heads up the stairs. I think he's probably heading to a wider area so that he can perform some finding magic on campus. And Serena is left with you.
Well, let's go tell Sorelleras we need to alarm their door and inform us of anyone taking the box out. Don't know how happy they'll be, considering Loran hurt them last time.
Did he?
He scratched their face, yes.
You couldn't heal that?
I certainly tried. Loran counterspelled me.
That's just like him.
Let's hope we still have a good ally.
Serena looks at you and just says, "He loves you."
I love him.
Have you been able to come to terms? Speak with one another? You seemed okay then. Loran seemed a bit out of it.
We have been able to speak, but Loran is somewhat unstable at the moment. I'm being cautious.
Do you want to do me a spicy perception check?
Yeah.
Just to see what's happening around the room.
That is a 24.
Zarina will. It's like, well, looks like it's time to go. And you know the way is clear. No one here to impede you. And Zarina just says, if there's ever anything you're hesitant to tell me, remember, as long as I don't cast magic, I'm not involved in an official code.
I think it'll be okay.
And you guys can head to Serena House. Now, the door is where you left it, because they are an ally to all. It is an accessible area. And
I'm scared.
you knock or you just open it?
I will knock and then open.
Okay. Open the door, and there are no dips on the table. No tapenades, not a flatbread in sight. The only thing is that there is a sad little bowl of olives.
Alstaer kind of laughs a little bit and then Swelleras.
So Elaras turns around. They're standing at the top of the stairs. They slowly turn.
Are we having a bit of a tantrum?
I think we are, yes. How are you?
I am okay. I apologise for Loran's behaviour. I'm sorry he wouldn't let me heal you.
That's fine. I'm certain that it will heal on its own. And you see that the wound has kind of been slightly patched. They descend the stairs and sit in their favourite chair, as usual, with their back to the fire. And you two sit opposite. They cross their legs and they just say, "So what are you doing back?" Lucas did come by and offer me up the contract in the box.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all.
We've had some security concerns about the contract.
Have you?
Yes. If possible, we'd like to alarm your door.
Quite the breach of privacy. What if I have an interloper? What if I have someone who I don't want you to know about coming to visit me?
Well, then we have to question your intentions and the security of the contract.
Sorora smiles and just says, "Well, perhaps it's a good idea. If Sinestri was able to sneak around wearing someone else's face, the alarm would reveal that. Nothing can get past. So, who is going to perform the alarm, Serena?" And Serena just says, well, I'm the only one who can, and yes, we don't want anyone in. We don't want that happening again.
No. So everyone in this room is allowed to pass through the alarm. Who else should we name as able to?
Sorry, I'm just going to check how.
Not Cass.
Not Cass. Cass is not on the agenda.
Not on the alarm.
Wait, as in people that can pass without being alarmed, or people that pass and will be alarmed?
Yeah. If you pass through, the alarm will go off.
So
yeah, then Cass.
Serena says, Alstaer, of course. Myself. It's not necessarily going to. Well, here's the thing. If I feel the soul passing through and it is not a threatening presence, then I'm not going to do anything about it. So why don't you just draw up a list of names who you think are all right to pass through, and I will just take a mental. And Sorora says, "Understood."
Is Cass's contract being kept in here?
Sorora nods and just says, "Yes."
Okay. Then we need to add Cass's soul and Karul's soul to the list. It will set off the alarm if we take them through.
Zarina says, don't we want to know if somebody takes them out?
We want to know if someone not within our party takes them out.
You trust Cass not to mess with.
Alstaer looks like he's considering. Can I make an intelligence check?
Yeah.
That
I will
is
say you could
17.
trust Cass, but unfortunately Cass is compromised, so
Alstaer with a 17. I'll draw up a list of names. Don't tell anyone in case they take it personally.
Zarina says, of course. Yes, so I will until you're ready.
Alstair gets out a little piece of paper, and just for my sake, I'm going to look at all the characters we have.
Why don't we do it? I really need the loo.
2-minute break.
2-minute break,
Okay.
and then we'll be back. Right, so Alstair, you draw up a list for Zarina, and she checks it over, and she just says, okay. You really do only trust us, don't you?
I don't want it known that that's the list. Although I feel like Cass would probably appreciate being left off.
And I'm assuming we're adding I suppose, actually, Cass's soul is currently unable to act. Leave that one.
I don't quite understand how the potion works. Is it still locked up inside of her?
Yes, so the fragment of soul that was in Cass's contract is within her.
Okay.
I've been meaning to speak to her about this all day, actually. So hopefully we'll get a chance to soon.
If we ever get to the brunch I was planning.
We will. But don't forget, you and I also have to make the potion together.
Yes.
She's in between herself at the moment. The part of her which is tied to that contract, it's inhabiting her. And I think it's dangerous. But so long as we stay on top of it.
We need to be prepared.
She's good friends around her. Move. I'll carry the loaf on.
Love.
And Zarina says, right, I'll start acting on this. How about you go ahead and do your brunch? And I'll meet you back down here in an hour or two to make potions.
Sounds good.
All right. And Zarina gets to work on the door and you head out.
He nods at Thrallaras before he leaves.
Thrallaras nods.
Polite. See you later.
See you later. No olives?
Oh, no dips?
He just touches their cheek and brushes some hair behind their ear. I didn't anticipate company.
Then also takes an olive and puts it on his tongue. Delicious. And he'll leave.
Okay, so you guys head up. Now, to synthesize everything, Slya, you and Cass are sitting together in the main sort of room that you're in. And Bluey, you said you were going to stop by the library before you went to see before you went to see them to pick up a little something, didn't you? If you're there?
Don't know if she is.
Okay. Well, then we'll retcon that in what sort of thing you brought. But Cass, Bluey, Saraza joins you once more and passes on that Slya or Cass, if it's not too much trouble, could one of you message Neff and tell her to come back?
Sure.
And you notice that Leander is also sort of standing in the room as well, sort of by the doorway. What message do you send?
Have we been told where we're going to be meeting?
You assume probably the breakfast room that you guys usually. Because Alstair's been saying breakfast, brunch.
Yeah.
So it just sends a simple message of we're being assembled in the breakfast room.
DC.
Assemble.
Okay, so you send off that message and Neff replies, "Oh, okay, I'll be there in a minute. I'm just patching up anyone here I can for now. But I'm not 100% sure how to fix this. I think I'll head back and we can talk then."
Mm-hmm.
And Neff finishes the message. You get the impression she's on her way. Moments later, Loran appears at the door and just says, "It's so funny. We said goodbye downstairs. We're all here now. Found you." And he points to Cass. And Cass says, "Sorry, I'm just going off because Freya's giving me a little ring. Hang on." She just picks up her phone. I'm like, no. Bluey, before we carry on, what are you picking up from the library for Slya?
Okay, so to my understanding, IT can only speak Dwarven and Common.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she'd be... Oh, okay. So I guess Blue would want to search for... Okay, if anything catches her eye that is written in Common, she'd grab it. But if she sees something in, like, Dwarvish, she will ask IT, like, what it is, and then make a, like... I'm guessing... I think Bluey's heard about, like, Ferinia's reading of, like, fiction. I'm thinking a fiction book for Ferinia, maybe a non-fiction book for Slya.
Sure. That's cute. You can find... just really quickly roll me an investigation check, and then I'll just tell you what you bring.
I think that's 17.
With 17, you find a few like dwarvish sort of fantasy-inspired novels. When I say fantasy novels, I mean oh, hi Lala. So he is here. Fantasy novels, which in this world would be modern and day A use. And then for Slya, you can find a book on languages, which is obviously something she's very interested in. And more like healing in different cultures of the Messiahs. And you take those, and Slya, when Bluey arrives, it is with arms laden full of books.
Hello. I think if Slya's still like sitting up, then you'll see that like Bluey looks a little kind of like delighted, relieved. Yeah. Hello. I mean, you've met before, but yes. We found this for you, and then like passes the modern literature to Ferinia. And
she looks ecstatic and is just like, this is great. And you can tell the gesture is very much appreciated. And as you're kind of like,
not that I can necessarily recommend these from reading them, because even if I could read Dwarvish, hang on, Draconic is like written in Dwarvish runes, but it wouldn't be.
You can read it, but you can't speak it. There you go.
It'd be like if you speak Russian and and you can read a Greek sign, but you don't know what it exactly means. From personal experience.
So you guys kind of start chatting about your books. Just as Loran, Neff, Leander, everyone else starts arriving, and you're all pulling in it together. And Alstaer, you're kind of sitting, I think, at this point in the breakfast room, like, and the only person who turns up on time is Jural, who does not bring Valus. And they look at you and they just kind of sit next to you, and sort of like they're a bit slumped in the chair.
Were we always this late?
Usually we arrived just at the perfect moment. And then at that point, Loran enters. Exactly, here I am! With the party all in tow. And you guys can settle in all around.
A small note, Slya would have asked Ferania to come with her.
Of course.
And said very quietly in like Dwarvish, dearest, you can take the book.
Ferania says, and I will. She kind of like, she settles herself a little bit away from the table, keeping near you, but not actually fully engaging, because obviously, you know, she's not part of this. And as much as she loves you, she is still reeling from your decision to continue on your path. And
Slya has like her tail kind of like wrapped around Fernia's wrist.
Also, Cass, you got the impression that Loran wanted to speak to you by yourself, but considering everyone was there and you were already late, he would have said to you, let's do this after.
When you all turn up late, Alstair's like, so nice of you to join us, guys. Really.
Loran.
Does Cass turn up late?
You all turned up late.
It's more of a joke. You guys kind of went to Slya's bedroom because I sent you there before, rather than the breakfast room, because I forgot. So I like to think Loran would have like stood there for a second before they remembered, like, oh, they? Loran?
Oh.
They? Pandora's box unlocked. And yeah, you guys head down and you're all together now. You get the impression that Loran wants to speak to you alone at some point. Alstair, Loran pulls out a chair and sits next to you, and just as you're kind of seated there, just is close and makes sure to hold your hand.
Well, welcome, everyone.
Sorry for being late. Blue is absolutely bewildered. She did not know that this was happening. Yeah. Anyway.
It's fine. I have gathered you all here today because, of course, we need a plan of action.
Loran says, I think that's very reasonable.
Yes. We have information. I'm sure we can proceed with the plan based on that information. Unless anyone has any objections, things they want to do besides Slya sleeping, which is, of course, important.
We need to speak to Sinestre.
Yes, and we need to have her executed.
Jural says, you still want me to be involved?
It's quite poetic, isn't it?
He looks at Slya and just... And you? What role do you want to have in all this?
Nothing. honestly. I'm done with her. She doesn't need to take up any more time in my life than it would take to extract the information.
Bold words. Then are we all going to be interrogating Sinestre?
Karul says she will not speak.
I don't need her to.
No.
I'll be there for you.
I don't mind taking charge with that with Slya.
Understood. Then, Cass, Zarina and I will provide you with an anti-possession potion within the day. Considering, I know you've been worried about it.
Thank you.
That was what I was going to speak to you. Loran says, if you're happy with that, we can proceed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Bluey.
If the interrogation has to happen quickly, I wouldn't want to ask anything myself. I guess if
Sarah sees you struggling and just leans forward and just says, if there's something you want to do, Bluey, then you can say it now. We're all here for each other. You're not stuck on one singular path.
Except that we only have 3 days to do things.
Sarah just says, well, 3 days is a long time. I think we know that.
There's a lot to do.
Bluey, what were you going to suggest?
refining what we know about the effect that the Apraean sickness is doing. I'm not sure she would know a lot because it seems like it's coming from Osha being possessed, and Elijah in general. But if she does know anything about proximity, she had some of this herself, right?
Loran says, I think I understand what you're saying. The most valuable information about the sickness might not necessarily come from Sinestre, but it could come from some other source.
Didn't we get good information from Karul already on this?
Because I wasn't there for that, I don't necessarily.
Loran,
Don't worry, Blue. I remember. I can fill you in. We have notes.
and Loran says to you, I understand that, but I'm thinking in a different capacity, not just traps and what awaits us, but by examining those who are affected, we might learn something immediate. I think what Bluey is suggesting is that we go to the Apraeans. Now, I feel like there might be a slight personal edge to that, but we have been acting on our personal impulse. I think it's fair to indulge this one, considering how closely tied we all are to it.
Well, if it would keep you occupied, it sounds like a good decision.
More than keep her occupied, Loran says, kind of trying to sort of like look you, like, look at you quite assertively. I genuinely think it could be useful. If Slya, from the sounds of it, was able to heal Verinia, well, perhaps it's worth having Neff and Slya go down at some point to see.
I understand.
With Bluey, is there anything you want to say?
That is, in fact, a request I was going to make. That Neff, or if Slya, if you're well enough, I also need to tell you all that I told just the Apraeans who aren't Pikutaro and a few others in Eldralith, just those people that the desecration of the soul or the body that is in line with a curse, and I also mentioned the fact that I found this out in a kind of security measure, and also mentioned that one of us was killed and then revived.
Wow. Louis, everyone knows then. Everyone.
In that,
Bluey, in future, I might recommend maybe telling as little as necessary.
I didn't tell them about Pikutaro.
Probably
Very
a good
good.
idea.
Yeah, thank you. That's a relief.
Oh my god. Sarasa says, Bluey, I am sure you acted in order to protect your people. I can understand. We've all been doing that lately.
Sarazer, if you can commiserate, why don't you supervise Bluey from now on?
You trust me to do so?
Of course. If you remain with her, perhaps you could draw on each other's strengths in a way that would help.
Nods. Well, then the Apraean party is myself, Nev, Bluey, and Slya. I was going to take you down there anyway.
Something to think about. If we need more time, we were given some sort of blessing from Titania.
At which point Leander speaks up and just says, if you were given a blessing, do not use it lightly. Offers like that do not come ever. I would recommend using it only in your time of absolute dire need.
Who has the blessing?
The party have to invoke it as like
Slya has it.
Slya have to sort of decide on it, but Slya is the one who would get the extra time.
Well, that's Slya's choice then.
Well, she's holding on to it for the party. She's not going to make this decision for the party.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No, but also saying, like, if you need more time, Slya.
Sorry. Slya looks like she's kind of struggling to fight tears. She clears her throat, and you're right. It's probably not the right time to use it, but in which case I do have a favor to ask, Alstaer.
What's the favor?
Until things are sorted in Aprea, if there could be some sort of sanctuary for Nia.
I'm sure that there is room in this palace for your wife and your child.
Leander looks like he feels quite bad all of a sudden. Kind of looks at his feet and just frowns. But he doesn't say anything.
If anybody wants to roll insight on Slya,
I 100% know why you wanted to use it. I figured it out just then. I was like, oh no!
Y'all can definitely see that there is something she did not say.
Yeah. Loran will do it, why not?
17.
Yeah.
You get maybe the thought of her having the kind of internal struggle of there will never be enough time.
I think Loran is just going to say, Slya, Leander's right. I'm sorry to say. To have to be the brutal one.
I understand.
You never know when the time is going to be.
No.
But if you can use this only once, I want you to be dying or desperate.
It's in slightly poor taste.
Wait. Oh, he said dying or desperate. Sorry, that cut out a little bit.
Yeah.
Slya passes it over to Bluey.
Passes what, sorry?
I think it was like a water jug.
Oh, the talking jug?
No, it was Titania's gift.
Oh, yeah. I remember Cass making a talking stick the last time we were at the table.
Should we really have that out in the open? If it's as powerful as they say.
Loran says, I can keep it safe.
I think that would be an excellent idea.
Yeah. Sorry, Slya. I think Loran's extra-dimensional things are probably more capable at not dropping.
I actually might disagree unless we're certain that Elijah cannot access those spaces.
There is one he can't.
The mansion. Very clever.
Give me a moment. And Slya, I may be one step away from falling to the dark side, but you can promise I won't use this gift.
How do you activate it? Do you smash it or something, or?
You drink.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Eat at the table.
That's how you activate it. Maybe it's a good idea.
Okay.
Loran starts casting the mansion door.
So, 3 days to achieve all of these tasks, and then we're going to Eldrelith. Correct?
Correct.
Leander says, I think we also needed to discuss one other before you agree on anything. And he nods to her.
As you know, to get the information from Karul, I had to make a contract that wasn't a soul contract, but I decided to sign away memory. Unfortunately, I was informed after the fact that my memories had been tampered with twice. And a third time might cause irreparable damage to my brain. So, the terms of the contract are, essentially, we cannot bring any harm to Karul.
Lily, could you just forward me the contract?
It's on docs, I sent it to you. 1 second, please, I will screenshot it for you.
Okay, sorry, I got a call. What was Slya hiding?
There will never be enough time.
Okay.
She wanted to use the water jug to get her
Oh,
next day.
No. She did not want to. She did not mean to use it for that.
Right.
But she just put it on the table as if we need more time.
Yeah. Okay, Emma, I've sent you the contract in your messages.
She also gave up the thing to remove the temptation of acting selfishly without the group's consent.
And also is explaining his contract.
Okay, so
Leanne,
are you just about to explain what exactly the terms are?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Busy day today.
Do not worry. So, thank you for being here anyway. Leander just says, I will, if it's amicable, read you the terms so that you might fully understand them.
Of course. Alstaer will remove his robe so that his back's visible to Leander.
Leander says,
It's cold.
I have a retentive memory.
For the whole contract.
There's a reason I got where I am today.
Scratch that then. Alstair does not remove his robes. He stays warm and swaddled.
Also just begrudgingly go to the top button.
He's like, I don't want to take it off, it's cold.
Leander says, so, I, Alstaer Game On Dehane, pledge to strive to the best of my ability to free the soul fragment of one Karul Malel. And Jarrell reacts to that. A deep kind of shaking breath.
Could I insight check Jarrell when he does that,
Yeah.
please?
Same.
Aww. You really can't, can we, Alice?
21.
30.
Look at us go!
Yeah.
OMG, one of my old Japanese teachers commented on my Valentine's post. They know, it's out there now.
They know.
I'm gay. So yeah, sorry. I was just so surprised. So, who,
Can I also insight check Jarrell?
Yep, you can.
22.
Friends, anyone who rolled over an 11 would know that Jarrell is a little bit relieved.
Oh no!
Leander continues. This will include, but not be limited to, preventing exorcism of said soul fragment, bartering the usage of soul fragments to outside parties, and exchange of the soul fragment to the fiend Alarm. At which point he looks at you. Essentially, we can't attempt to be rid of Karul without freeing. And the soul fragment itself will be under the express protection of Alstaer until such time the contract it is bound to is destroyed. This destruction must be total and unerring, releasing the soul to the astral plane or other possible. We will not go to in short term. Once all is said and done. In exchange for this, the soul fragment must provide pertinent information to the quest of one Alstaer Game On Dehane. It is to offer up information upon request and attempt to the best of its ability to be helpful and direct. It is not to conspire or withhold information that could lead to the deaths of Alstaer or associated parties. Unless threatened, the soul fragment is to act without malicious intent towards those aforementioned parties. Now, the definition of threatened extends to attempted maiming, casting spells, contracts being destroyed or handed over to Elan, etc., etc. No antagonistic activity. Looking distinctly at Loran. Loran is like, well,
I'm glad we signed this after the fact that Loran was throwing little fireballs at him.
No, well, I was not throwing them at him. I was throwing them around him. It was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then Leander kind of grimaces and just says, as a final note, also Game on Dehane must ask one Jaral Nahaz to seek his company. The completion of said request is out of the power of Alstaer Game on Dehane, but must be requested with full earnesty.
Well, that's that then.
Signed by both. Do you all understand?
So, unless he attacks us first, somehow, nothing antagonistic towards him.
I don't believe you had that stipulation. I believe it was if you attacked Karul first.
Loran
Okay.
says, are you saying that if he attacks us, we can do nothing?
And you would break the contract in doing so.
Well, there you are.
Wait, so if he attacks us, we cannot respond in any way?
He would break the contract. But if you attack him,
right?
if
No,
you
that's
attack him
fine.
first, then
His
he can
soul-
retaliate without breaking the contract.
If he attacks
Right.
us in any way or tries to harm us, his soul will be forfeit. And any agreements are done and gone.
Cass looks like when the terms are read out, Cass does not look happy with the terms. Just for everyone's
Loran also looks
knowledge.
a little displeased, but he was there when they were written, so
It's just
Yeah.
a
Cass
statement of
is
neutrality.
mad.
It's a statement of neutrality. All I'm asking you is, if we need to discuss with Karul again, don't act against him in any way that could be considered threatening. Even though he's just a fragment, I don't know, but I believe, he looks at Leander, that would entitle Karul to retaliate without breaking his contract with us.
Understood.
Jaral looks very distant.
Penny for your thoughts, Doral?
No.
Where is Valis?
Upstairs with anyone.
Good. We have put an alarm on the door that Karul's contract is behind. Only a few are named on it. If you are not told as such, then you can assume that the alarm will go off if you enter. Valis is also alarmed, so we will know if he goes after the contract. He is a child after all. How could he possibly understand?
Seen a lot for a child.
Can I insight check Jaral after Brian says that?
Yeah, and you hear him say he's seen a lot for a child.
Natural word. Cass
Oh.
doesn't know
Jaral is
anything.
vibing right now.
Charles is the Valen.
Hey, Cass.
Ooh, yes.
Do you want to throw on that dice instead?
It makes no difference. Cass's insight is so low, it would still be a 5.
Alright.
So
Okay.
just save it for something better.
Alright.
Save it for if I rolled a nat 1 on persuasion, because then I would still end up with a 21, baby.
Oh,
Jesus
God.
fucking Christ.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's beautiful. Love it.
She has a plus 18 to persuasion.
That's so broken.
The death of many things is a thing I will never, ever, ever bring into my game again. Under any circumstances. It gave Cass a freaking castle and a plus 18 to this.
I mean, her plus is on like charisma base, other stuff is plus 11. So it's not as
Rivaling
broken
Alstaer's
as it
perception.
seems.
Right, so You guys kind of notice that Jarrell is becoming very within himself.
Jarrell, can I speak to you after this meeting? I need to speak to you.
Jarrell says, no, you should focus on making the potions for Cass.
Jarrell, in my palace, that's an order.
It's not blue smelling.
Jarrell stands up and says, do you want me to leave?
Doing so would make you a little suspicious.
Then perhaps Jarrell would escort me back to my room. Unless there's something else you need me for.
Jarrell just stands up and kicks his chair back and says, I will not be put under armed guard.
We'll find you later.
Make it sure it's much later. And Jarrell walks away.
Now that Jarrell's gone, is Slya still there? Or is Jarrell gone with Slya?
Slya, it's up to you if you follow.
Like, he would have probably understood that she was trying to offer him a way out of the situation.
It's up to you if you follow.
Can I roll an insight check to see if that's...
Go on.
Because if she's not welcome, she's not going to do it.
Right.
22.
I think you would know that
I'm going to the gym, then I'm going into Guildford. What are you doing? We're on a meeting. D&D. Oh, see you later.
Sorry.
Sorry. You can tell Jarrell is really conflicted. Quite similarly to how he was when Karul first spoke to him down in the dungeons. He seems to still be carrying a lot of that emotion now, and it's affecting how he's acting around you guys. And kind of, it might be that with Alstaer saying it's an order, with contract and everything that's happening, you get the impression he's very overwhelmed. And from what he said, you can tell he was implying that Alstaer can come and see him later. But at least for now, he wants to be alone.
If she can get that he wants to be alone, she will leave him.
And Alstaer, I think, what's your passive insight?
21.
I think you would get that impression as well, but obviously considering how Alstair's been approaching this so far, whether that affects him or not, it's kind of to you.
I am sensing some tension.
Luan says, no shit.
I will keep an eye on Jarrell. It's not that I don't trust him, but I do understand. I think I will restrict bringing out the contract whilst he is in a state where I don't believe he'll be acting within his mind. However, everyone else, if there is any issue you have with me personally, considering I'm trying to conduct myself as a king, you can bring it up with me later. For now, I suppose we know what we're doing. Hope you enjoyed your brunch.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Sarasa looks a bit uneasy and then just says, "We should get to the."
I will go make the potion for Cass with Serena.
And Loren says, "And Cass, hang back for me." So, do you guys all head off?
Yeah.
Okay, you go your separate
Cass,
ways.
I think Cass had originally wanted to speak to the party about like
Okay.
how we were conducting ourselves, but she's like, maybe now isn't the time, so she doesn't. But she did want to.
As everyone leaves, Cass and Loren stays behind and kicks up his feet. And he rocks back on his chair and says, "So what I was going to tell you was exactly what you already heard. My mother is going to brew you another potion because you will be under the influence of potentially another tomorrow." How are you feeling about that?
Like I want to be on the floor of a tavern and blackout drunk.
I can't imagine what it's like to lose yourself. No. But I can promise you that we will at least make a backup plan.
I think Cass looks like deep in thought, but I think because evil Cass was the one that hurt Loran, I think she feels like she owes it to him more than anyone. She doesn't look at him when she says, imagine all the worst things that you think of, but you would never act on. And then imagine that you would. There's little voices where it's like, oh, maybe you should just do this or that. It's not so much that you lose yourself, it's that the worst part of yourselves has complete control. That's what's hardest. She is me. I was her. The things that she does and wants aren't always completely separate from what I have wanted or do want. And that's what makes it the hardest.
Loren smiles and he just says, "I think I understand a little bit. More often than not, the demons in my head tell me to be good, in spite of everything. It's really hard." I'm trying not to let my paranoia rule me. But it's hard to balance that with my instincts. So, like I can't be sure of what's real anymore. I feel like I'm losing Alstaer. Feel like he's gone somewhere where I can't reach him. And in my mind, all my thoughts are muddled with reasonable ones. To give him time, to let him feel his feelings. But honestly, all I want to do is forsake the rest of you and take. After everything that happened with you in the King's trials, I want to do that even more. No, I don't blame you for that. But if you ever let that happen again, well, I can't promise I'll still be here.
I don't blame you, Naran. I hurt you, and in that moment, even though it's not the me I am now, it was still a part of me, and she wanted to kill you, and she wanted that in that moment more than anything else. So, and that's because your paranoia was correct. We're all pulling away from each other, and in that space, there's doubt. And we're at a time where we can't have any doubt. And yet, this is the most apart we have all been. I don't know how to fix that. I can't be trusted as I am. If I don't have a potion today, tomorrow I might not be the same. I might succeed in beating her, but she defeated me once. There's every chance she will do it again. And if she did so, I don't know if she'd stick around either. You guys are too suspicious. I don't know how to fix us, but I know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and yet we don't have any time to do so. I wouldn't blame you for leaving. I wouldn't blame Slya for leaving. I wouldn't blame Bluey and Neff. We each have our own issues that we need to fix. Osha is gone. IT and all the Aquarians are sick. My father will be as well. There's a lot wrong with the world, and even more
Too
wrong
much
with
to name.
us.
You care that much. I suppose it involves those you love.
I don't have any answers for now, and I don't have any solutions for what's happening with Brian and what's happening with the rest of us. Maybe it's beyond being fixed. Maybe we'll never be like we once were. But the problems are bigger than us. And that hurts even more because there's so much fucking wrong with us. But we've started on this path, and if we abandon it, it will happen anyway. And we'll all be lost regardless.
I think you are. Are you and Freya doing all right?
As long as I don't let my own paranoia get in the way.
Alstaer and I have been better. I thought we'd be... It's naive. I thought we would be sticking together. I get the feeling he's more worried about others at the moment. Dral's outburst is on his mind.
I think we're right to be concerned about Dral. My gut is telling me that. Well, my gut is telling me we should never have messed with the contracts in the first place. But what is done, and we must seek to make the best of what has happened. But some relationships leave deeper scars and are harder to get away from.
Loren says, I think you're right, especially for those two. They've both been hurt by I just hope it doesn't draw them together in a destructive way.
As much as I understand Brian's decision, and he is a king, unfortunately, the decision he made with Karul isn't a decision about the Messiah, and I think we should have been involved in it. It's not my place to interfere with whatever Brian and Lucas determine for their own country. They are rulers and they know what is best. But in this, we should have at least been told before it was done.
It was the same. The doorbell just went. Thank you. I feel the same. And I swear to God, I feel like I'm still waiting for this to all fuck up. Is it another call?
Hang on.
That's all right.
1 second.
That's okay. I think Loran will kick his feet down at that and say...
Sorry, I hung up on the call. What happened?
Loran just said, I'm still waiting for this for all to go... For all to all go wrong, essentially. And he stands up and just sort of stretches his arms and says, but aren't we all?
I was going to say I'm making lunch, but you're busy.
Yeah. But thanks. Sorry. Everything is just very chaotic today.
That's okay.
Yeah, Cass is like, shit is going to go wrong. But she's like, I need to speak with Brian. I need to say these things. And I need to speak with him and Lucas about interrogating Sinestre. The assassination attempt was made on their ice. And I think we need to... I can't just start that, but I think she probably won't talk, but Slya will see what she can do, and I'm not above using other methods.
Loran just says, well, why don't you go find Slya and discuss those methods?
I think I should speak to Brian first, but I don't know if now is a good time.
Loran says,
Delicious.
Picked up some bread from the brunch table. No, I'm pretty sure Alstaer's only eaten an olive today. Maybe I should make him something. Really good bread.
That is good, isn't it?
But Loran nods and says, well then, if you need to find Alstaer, you'll be with my mother. Oh. Pussycat.
I'm sure Zarina needs to speak to me anyway. She hasn't yet spoken to me about everything with Titania, so. Ow.
Wait, are you ready? Wait. How did I do it before?
No, Lala. Not for Lala.
He's cute. Baz hates me. But anyway. You guys part ways. And Loran stalks off to... I forget where he was going to go. I've done that twice this session.
Have a little tantrum.
Yeah. He'll stalk off to have a little tantrum. No. You know what? I think he's going to go into the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just say, if Alstaer needs me, tell him.
I will.
And the door closes.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, the rain is intense.
Hmm. Oh,
Just a heads up, I will be on a meeting in 10 minutes. So
that's fine.
Just...
Do you guys want to play until after... If we play until about 1:15-ish? Is that okay with you guys? Just another 30 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Just that would be
I'm
just
good for
over
another
3
30
hours.
minutes.
Well, we can let Cass, if we're
okay,
George, if we're still on after, then feel free to head back in. But if you need to go and do work, that's also fine. And we'll just make sure that Cass's stuff is all wrapped up.
Yeah, so do we want to quickly do that scene with Brian now? Sorry, I know I've spoken a lot. So.
That's fine. Let me just get my timer is on then.
I've got the same time run.
Did you? I did mine for 3 hours.
I mean, I've got a stopwatch.
Oh, okay.
I guess I have I have a hard limit of 1/4 past.
2:57.
Yeah.
So it's
just so I get enough sleep. I've been getting lots of sleep.
Sorry, I missed that, Anna.
Hard limit of 1/4 past for me. Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys go your separate ways. Cass, you have to find Alstaer. Alstaer, you're halfway, maybe just at the bottom of the stairs, about to head into Threlleras's mansion with Zarina again, when Cass approaches you.
Cass?
I think we need to talk.
Right now?
We can talk in potion.
Cass, just so you know, when you enter, an alarm will go off.
Cass sort of thinks about it and sort of gives like a sad smile and it's like a wise decision.
Okay. Alstair will open the door for her. Svella's just like, oh.
Zarina's just like, oh my god, rings, alarm bells.
It's just Cass.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cass will just sort of take a perch and watch while you guys start.
Zarina's just like, you don't trust my skills?
Should I make an Arcana check for Zarina?
Yes, please. Lala's looking.
That is a 23. 23.
Thank you. Zarina has some sort of a sourdough starter for potions, which he's pouring out. Cass, you are free to talk, and Stellaris and Zarina are there, but will only involve themselves in the conversation if you wish to.
I understand the decisions that went into speaking to Karul. And I know you are king, and that when it comes to the Messiah, I don't mean to question your judgment, but when it came to speaking to Karul, I think that was a decision that we should have been involved with, or at least made aware of before it was a fait accompli. We are all struggling and drawing away from each other, and I think we all need to speak about how we're going to proceed in the future. When it comes to the party and the decisions that involve and affect each other, I think we can't be striking off on our own to do these decisions. It's driving, and this isn't just you. Many decisions have been made over the weeks, months,
Yes, go for it.
weeks, days, like
Big old golden brave. Take charge of your own timeline.
No, that just seems like some sort of weird sub-person in my brain that thinks it's been years, weeks. Anyway, it's not just you. It's not just this decision. We've all done it, and we're all drawing away from each other. But if we're going to face what we're going to face, we have to try and do it together. And what's done is done. The contract has been made. Like I said, I'm not sure it was the right decision, but it's the decision that has been made, and we now all just have to go on and make the best of it. And if it's okay with you, I will draw up a list of the questions I would like him to be spoken to. I will not be going anywhere near Karul. I cannot be trusted to be near a contract like that, or a person like that in the state I'm in.
I understand.
I'm just asking for the future.
Alstaer kind of holds up the potion that he's working on, and it kind of reflects through his face. Tell me, Cass, are you afraid of losing your family again?
I'm afraid I've already lost it.
Serena's been bustling in the background, but she kind of stops and just listens in. Cass, can you repeat that?
I'm afraid I've already lost it.
It's a shame, isn't it? I'm sorry that I didn't trust you more. Truly.
Trust is... I was just speaking to Loran. We've all drawn apart, and doubt has filled the spaces. I have not been the most trustworthy person. She touches her eyes. I understand the doubt and the decisions, why people are making decisions separately and on their own. But the more we do that, the less trust there will be. And I worry what will happen if we all fall apart, even more than we already have.
As do I. I fear it might be too late for some of us, especially Loran. He looks at Serena. He has been expressing to me disturbing desires.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I suppose we'll just have to wait and see and do what we can. I am also very concerned.
Agree.
I'll finish your potion, and then I might pay him a quick visit. It's you understand, it's something that I don't really think anyone else can understand.
I think you'd be wise too. He will be in the mansion.
Jarrell, not Loran.
Oh, Jarrell. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Loran. Still, I think he would be wise too. The seeds of doubt for all of us are quite bad at the minute, and I'm concerned about Jarrell and what bringing this contract will do. And I know I've said it before, my soul fragment has a lot more power than I realised. And Karul is more powerful than I am.
Yeah. I know that. He, I won't let him out around you.
I think Zarina would pause then and say, also, if you're letting him out at all, or ask his questions, perhaps bring Loran or Saraza in with you. Again, I can't be involved, but I trust them.
Oh, my meeting's starting.
That's okay. You guys can.
I'm gonna have to.
That's okay.
We can always finish this off. But if you are still playing when I'm done, I will sign back on.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So Cass just kind of sits quietly whilst you guys continue on the potion, and Zarina just kind of looks at you to make sure you understand her. Alstaer, her warning.
Of course. Potion looks good.
It's on its way. She starts baking it at 350 degrees now. The rest of you head over to the Aproyan tents, and when you go there, you do find that Marlena has somewhat calmed the situation. Now, who is doing medicine checks? Neff can assist you here, so if you want to do with advantage.
This tracks.
Yeah.
Is if does Slya have penalties still? Like 3 penalty?
I will take the 3.
Oh.
Ouch.
Yes, here you go. A 3 on the dice.
So that makes it an 11.
11? Okay. What are you trying to discern here?
Like, any additional info that we need before she just breaks out a mass heal on everyone here.
Okay. So,
can we just pause for 1 second while I ask Emma a question? I'm sorry.
I'm guessing Bluey could help out by like asking some people specifically how they've been feeling. And if that's like any help with, I don't know, extent of it, or I don't know. What does Bluey have on medicine? She has +2.
Like, if we can figure out how, basically, how the progression of it goes.
So, can you tell me what you were planning with your medicine check?
I think I was thinking Bluey could help by like asking specific individuals, like, how have you been feeling over the past month or so, like health-wise.
Would you also roll me a medicine check, please?
Medicine, yes.
I know. You're acting as a GP.
A 4.
Better than a 3.
So we've rolled on these checks consecutively 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Sexy.
Sexy. Okay, so Bluey, you know what? Talking to people necessarily isn't the medical part. Putting the information together is the medical part. You are aware with with Slya's help in kind of ascertaining the extent of the sickness. Because at the very least, you can say sick, sick, a bit sick, not sick, very sick to people, even if you can't figure out why, just on your instincts. With Bluey together, you guys can assume there is a correlation between sickness and how long people have spent in Eldritch or near Eldritch. There's also a correlation between sickness and how far away they live from Eldritch.
I was going to say, can you kind of figure out like the timing based on that spread as well?
With that low rolls, you cannot, I'm afraid.
Fair enough.
Oh dear.
Yep. But you can start your journey. You guys turn around and you're like, I had the same hypothesis as you.
So
and it shows that it's probably a good hypothesis.
Indeed. Neff is like, well, guys, do you think we can establish a timeline? Is that a no? Slya?
Slya's leaning very heavily on Sarazer at this point. She
I was going to say, yes.
would not have let Verinia go into this exposed area with everyone else.
Sarazer just holds his forehead and says, I know Alstaer was stressed about the timings, but if we need someone else with medical powers to
if you
bring
gather everyone around me, I have some magic.
At which point Neff says, Slya. And she kind of pulls you aside. I don't mean to stop you, but if you heal everyone of their sickness and we still haven't figured out the timeline, there's not going to be any sickness left for us to look at to determine it.
There's
If
still
you heal
more
everyone
people
now,
in Eldrilith. There are people in Ironstone. There are people in Melas. We can figure it out. We don't.
But we have 3 days here.
But they are sick now.
I'm going to have Sarazer cut because I don't want Neff to be culpable for this conversation. I think Sarazer would say, Slya, I understand, but Neff has a point. If you heal them, they're not going to learn anything.
The only thing I learn is that they won't get sicker. Isn't that more important?
What does Bluey think? These are your people.
So, wanted to jump in. I'm not sure I'll be able to, but I'm thinking I could, detect good and evil same way I did yesterday, day before, whichever one. And if I can notice any change in how people are, whether it's the same, and so it's, or if it's worse, then it's, she tries to be quiet with that, then we know that it can still progress even if they're away from Eldrilith. If we're not getting much here, then this will be a quick thing, and then everyone can be healed up.
Sarazen nods and just says, let's wait for Bluey to do this. Bluey, do you want to do your detect good and evil?
Yes. Don't be alarmed, everyone. I'm just doing the same thing.
So what you do find is that, for example, in the Wintergrands, who don't live in Eldrilith, there has been very little to no change. But from people who live closer, there is a much faster progression rate. Not to the extent where they visibly change, but within them, the sickness is still growing. So those who are from Eldralith especially are still being sick. And that is about the extent of what you know. At which point, if you share that information, Bluey?
Bluey would sort of whisper it to Slya because, like, she trusts them to retain this information. And we can, yeah. Right. The people not close to Eldralith, it's about the same, maybe only slightly worse. But the people who are much closer, it is more noticeably worse. And that's, even though they're so far away. So it is a matter of time. Yeah.
Saraza says,
if I'm not here to heal them, then I'm going to leave.
Slya, just let me get Alstaer. We just need you. Maybe you were too sick. We just need one.
All right.
We just need one more opinion.
If the people here, if we can't really afford for them to wait much longer, then we can't afford to delay our trip to Eldralith more than necessary. And
we probably need to leave sooner.
Saraza just says, fine, Slya, if you need to heal them, but I'm going to get Alstaer anyway.
I wasn't saying.
But remember why we were upset. Just because you think it's a good decision doesn't mean it's the best one. Why am I always being the bad guy? And
no, Sharon.
And Saraza just walks away.
We love you, Saraza.
Unless it's something you want to say to him.
We love you, Saraza.
You're not the bad guy, Saraza. If we need to meet for Eldralith sooner, we don't have to wait for me to be back at full strength. We can go.
No.
After Alstaer looks over these people, though, I would like to heal them. Please.
I will bring him.
I'll stay here at least.
Thank you, Bluey.
Oh, Slya stays with Bluey. She just kind of steps outside the tent to sit with Fernia, though.
Fernia is just holding you and looking at Saraza like, is he always an asshole?
He has his moments, but not really. He just talks kind of like you.
Yes.
I find it charming.
I'm just going to one thing.
Okay.
So you are left in the tent and Saraza makes his way back towards the castle, with the intention to go and find Alstaer. And And so that you're aware of all the locations of people, he passes Sorelaras, where Sorelaras and peers in, sees Zarina and Cass making their potions, and Zarina is the one to say, well, they've gone up to see. Well, sorry, not they. Why am I using they them pronouns for everyone? I guess I'm just really feeling non-binary today. Zarina just says he's up to see Gerald. Considering this has been about an hour or so after the brunch, a lot of time has passed, enough that you think, if Cass was here, I'd be talking from her perspective, but just to fill in the blank. Enough that you think that Gerald would. And Saraza just nods and is like, can't imagine that going very well. To which Serena just sort of laughs and purses her lips. Well, you can stop them killing each other. And Saraza heads upstairs and passes Slya's room and peers in on the mansion, but doesn't go inside. And he sees sort of Danielle with Valis in her arms and just like playing up and down the stairs, and she like smiles at him, but there is definitely a bit of strain behind her eyes. And a little bit of that carefree nature that she always has had with her seems to have disappeared.
Welcome to the DC.
Not unhappy, but a bit harrowed. And Saraza just says, thank you for watching over him. And Daniel replies, well, Alstaer needed to see Gerald, and I didn't want to leave him alone. And Saraza says, some of us are down with the Prions, but they're all a bit sick, so maybe don't leave him there. Cass and Serena are in Sorelaras. Valis quite enjoyed it. And Daniel just nods and smiles and says, well, Lucas is sorting everything out. And I definitely don't want him wandering off. I heard he went to the dungeons. Not good. I'll keep an eye on him. And she takes him down the stairs. And Saraza, just kind of forgetting himself for a bit, just sighs and grips against the handle of Gerald's door and just holds himself at the door frame for a moment. And he opens the door and it cracks apart. And inside he sees Gerald's room and Gerald sort of standing there. With Alstair's arms around his neck as Alstair's kissing him. And Anna, I think, should probably go.
What?
Because it is your hard limit of 115.
What?
I'm going to go to the loo.
What the fuck?
Goodbye!
I love you. Goodbye.
Can you mute it? Because I really need it properly.
Confusion.
Who is with Saraza? Is anyone with Saraza at the moment? Or are we seeing a cutscene? What?
Yeah, Sarazer walked in on...
Can I sleep after this? I've got work tomorrow.
Sorry, I had a, 404 error. Just complete blue screen. What?
Anna, if it helps, we will be waiting for George to come back and doing a final scene that you can watch on recording. Hee hee.
Okay, with a clarification. Like an on the mouth kiss,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not like a chaste,
Definitely not a chaste one. No. There you go. I'm leaving now.
I feel like I've forgotten how to breathe. This is very strange. It makes perfect sense. But just like... the sounds in my brain are... there will be consequences to this action. It's like jazz music stops. Also,
Hey guys.
blue screen. I'm 8,000 memes. That's what it sounds like in my head.
I swear to God, this is in character. We've been talking about it all week.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it tracks. I'm just like...
Sorry.
If you understand what's happening, either of you, do not say anything.
Cat!
I don't. I really do not understand what is happening.
And I guess you're gonna have to wait till Sunday.
I mean, I kind of think I might.
Do you want to message me?
I can't. My phone's on the charger.
George is back in town.
Excellent.
Oh
This
no,
is
George!
excellent.
You walked in on something bad.
Oh no! What?
So, let me just reiterate what's happened.
What?
Did Aelin message you?
No, he didn't.
Who am I gonna have to kill?
My phone is on the charger. It did. I don't
okay.
have access to it. So you can send it to me over Discord.
Oh, guys, don't leave me hanging like this. What happened?
Saraza opens the door to Jiral's room to find Jiral and Alstaer wrenching passively.
Wait, what?
Why did you make it funny? It's not funny.
Alstaer and Jiral are wrapped up in one another, kissing.
Yep.
Wait, I'm sorry. What? I need a little bit more. Like, are they actually kissing?
Saraza went to find Alstaer and was told he was with Jiral. He opened the door to Jiral's room and found Jiral and Alstaer kissing.
Like, genuinely kissing? Like, couple kissing?
Like, couple kissing.
Why do you two have to be bloody writers and obsess over this and come up with a fucking plot twist?
Plot twist!
Before I have to go to bed. Like, what the fuck?
Plot twist.
Night night, Anna. No.
Goodbye, Anna.
Oh.
We're gonna do the scenes and then you can watch the recordings.
And Cass, just because I did hijack you a little bit.
Mad.
Good. Cass, I did hijack you ever so slightly. That Alstair, after a couple of hours had passed of you guys making the potions together, would see if Jiral had cooled off enough to have a conversation with him. So he went
a conversation? What fucking nonsense is this?
Fuck.
So, well, let's find out what fucking nonsense is this.
Yeah, how many conversations has he had with Jiral?
I'm sorry, your fanfic brains are getting out of control.
This is what happens when we live in a house together. We just get real weird.
It gets real weird in here, guys.
So
I'm gonna leave.
that's okay.
Bye, Anna.
But just know that I won't have a sense of closure until
I don't think anyone's gonna get a sense of closure. I think there's gonna be some anger though.
if the next game is the 20th, I don't think. Hang on. I don't think. I think I said that I
You can only
just
make
can't.
up.
That's okay.
Maybe slightly less. Yeah. So.
That's okay.
Okay. Goodbye. Good luck.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Wish us no luck.
Have a good sleep. Have a good day at work.
Aelin doesn't know what's happening.
Did you say that?
I want it to be an illusion, or like, I don't know, some sort of like, I'm going to be, I don't know, sucking the evil out of you. That's the only really acceptable two things that could be happening.
Sucking the evil out of Joral.
That's a really good interpretation though, Aelin. I really like that.
So, wait, 2 weeks ago we had it finishing on Slya being assassinated, now an affair. Whatever could happen next. So, as Sarasa opens the door, Alstaer, you hear the door click. What do you do?
He drops his hands from Joral and just turns to see who it is.
And Sarasa was just standing there with his mouth on the floor.
He's like, fuck. Sarasa.
What the fuck is this?
It's,
What the fuck, Alstaer? And he comes forward and he just like grabs your shirt.
Sarasa, it's not what you think it is.
What is it then?
Joral was in a very, emotional state. I wanted to snap him out of it. It's not what you... He wanted to go and see Karul. I just acted on... This has never happened before. Do I need to? Yeah.
Yeah, well...
That is a 27.
Deception.
Sarasa shoves you back and you stumble back. His strength just way beyond yours, and you sort of hit the bed. And he just says, how can I trust that? How can I trust anything you're saying? And he's just in shock, and he just stumbles back and he looks at Joral and just looks him up and down and then just backhands him.
Sarasa, that's not going to help anything. Take a deep breath, please.
I think probably before the hit could touch, Joral would have been able to slip away from it. So Sarasa just like... Sarasa just like flexes his hands and he just says, no. Lauren,
Please don't tell Loran.
make a persuasion check. Disadvantage.
Disadvantage? Well, one was an actual 20. The other one is a 10.
Altogether?
10, yeah.
Why would I?
It's not... I don't love Joral. It's not what you think. $21.
You lying to me.
I'm not a liar.
Emma, I need you to speak up a little bit louder because Sarah's having
Sorry.
trouble picking up.
Sarah's said, "You're lying to me."
I'm not a liar.
But you're lying right now.
Why would I be? Sarahza, you know me. When have I ever lied to you?
Don't gaslight me. I know what I saw.
I kissed Gerald, but it wasn't more than that. He was panicking. I had to do something. I didn't want to hurt him. It was just a kiss.
Alstaer.
If you told Loran, it would break him.
Sarahza leaves the room
Sarahza, please stop.
and continues down the stairs.
Sarahza, if you want to hurt anyone, hit me. Please. Rather than hurting Loran. You can take it out on me, I don't mind. Can I roll persuasion?
Go on. You want him to hit you?
Yep. Gonna use a luck point. Wait. 14. I love the discourse in the chat.
Sarahza just yells. Grabs his hair. If you want him to hit you, that's you're gonna need more than that.
You can do it if you want to. Also has followed him out into the stairs now.
Don't follow me.
I'm sorry. Do you really believe I could ever betray Loran? In your heart?
He looks you dead in the eyes and says, "Yes." And I think that's where we'll wrap up the game for today. So,
that bit cut out for me. What did you say, Lils?
He said, do you ever think that I could betray Loran?
Right.
and Sarahza says yes to that. So, anyway, we'll see you on Sunday.
Jokes, punch Brian.
Jokes, punch Brian.
Whoopsie. Who hates Alstaer right now?
No.
Me. I won't deny it.
Oh no!
Oh, Cass was already annoyed at Brian. Like, what is going on?
Shall we go?
What have you done?
I apologise, even though I know it's live. All I've done is
provide you with good content.
Were you not entertained?
You're not entertained.
Guys, look, here's the thing. This game's been going on for almost 5 years. You knew some shit like this was going to go down at some point. Too many people in here on Alstaer. How did it actually come to be?
Also, are y'all ready for me to, like, wrap the recording?
Yeah.
Okay.